Discovery Plus. Watch Lycra Warriors battle.
It has been a blockbuster.
Hot shots fire.
The legend.
Sharpshooters strike.
Ronnie O'Sullivan is in seventh heaven.
And thrill seekers zoom. There's live sport for everyone on Discovery Plus.
Golden Dog. Aware neg heavier through that. Heavier through that. The petty will freak.
Welcome to Pond's Forge. We are back for Judgment Day Part 2. 16 world-class players still in with a chance of adding their names to the live draw, which will happen at the end of this session of snooker, to see who they may face on Saturday for the last 32 of the Cazoo UK Championship. This is one of the most prestigious titles available. We're rejigging the format, and if today's drama is half as good as yesterday, we're in for an absolute treat. Jimmy White adding his name to the list of those already in the draw, rolling back the clock in style. He hasn't made the last 32 of the UK for 12 years, and he's going back on the 30th anniversary of that great win over John Parrott. The quality today is incredible. We have a three-time UK champion, a former world champion, no fewer than 4 winners of the Welsh Open. 10 of the 16 players are proven ranking event winners. It is all to play for, and I'm delighted to be joined by Ken Doherty. Ken, yesterday was superb.
Yeah.
Judgment Day for the UK Championships works.
Absolutely, yeah. I think the structure this year has really benefited a lot of the players. And of course, it will benefit the tournament when we get to York as well, because it's a 2-table setup. It's going to be completely different. It feels like it's back to sort of the prestigious UK Championship that we've known, that you spoke about when Jimmy won it all those years ago. And I think it's back to where it should be. I think it's lost its way a little bit, but I think the structure this year has really helped the top players and indeed the bottom players as well.
And what was interesting from what we saw yesterday, of course, many of the headlines taken by Jimmy, Tom Ford is back in the mix.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen him at the UKs in the last 32 since his run to the semis 4 years ago. And at the other end of the spectrum, Jamie Clark is through to the last 32 of the UK for the first time. So Judgment Day brings up some interesting stories and some qualifiers that people might not necessarily have been expecting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's because they're, you know, they've got a bit of momentum, and as they've come through the draw, you know, to try and win those 3 or 4 matches to get to York, which is very, very difficult, top quality opposition all the time, but they've gathered momentum, they've got a bit of confidence, and you know, they've got through their hard work, the grit and determination, and also playing matches, and I think that's very, very important.
As for today, the quality is fantastic. How about this? Table 1, first up, it's Ding Junhui against Robert Milkins. Robert Milkins, now a proven ranking event winner after his victory in Gibraltar. Ding is one of a very small select number of players to have won the UK title 3 times.
Yeah.
That's a blockbuster match.
Yeah, and a tough match for both players, isn't it? You know, but it's certainly, you know, it's on table 1. It's a showcase sort of match this afternoon. I'm really looking forward to that. I think it's going to be a cracker because Robert Milkins come back into great form. You know, Ding Junhui trying to get back up to where he once was, and still a fantastic player, but sort of needs a really sort of good run of tournament to re-establish himself and try and get back into that elusive top 16. So that's going to be one to watch this afternoon, without a doubt.
And table 2, Dave Gilbert, Mark King. What a match that's going to be. Mark King has gone deep in the UK Championship before. Dave Gilbert is now a proven ranking event winner, trying to edge his way back up to the world's top 16. Yeah, Dave Gilbert's just fallen outside the top 16, and he's up against, well, a very sturdy Mark King, very determined Mark King, and a very, very tough opponent. You know, that's going to be a really tough match to call, that one. Dave Gilbert's probably a better scorer. Mark King, though, a better grafter and a better safety player. So it'll be a clash of styles, that, but I'm looking forward to that one. That's another cracker on table 2. The only one of the 8, and I'm singling it out because it signifies what a great performance he's produced to get to this stage. The only one of the 8 not to have won a ranking title is Zach Surety. What an opportunity for him against Jordan Brown. Yeah, amazing. I mean, he's done so well and played very, very well. I've been keeping an eye on some of his matches, and yeah, he's up against former Welsh Open champion Jordan Brown. But, you know, and Zach Surety, along with some of the other players, is an example of how this structure works. You know, because he's been struggling for the last couple of years. But I think this structure has really helped him. I think the guarantee of the 20,000 as well would have helped him, you know, taking a little bit of pressure off him. So I think, yeah, it's really worked for him, and he's really sort of taken advantage of that. And it's great to see him. He's already won 3 matches. He's 1 match away from the television stages. And, you know, it's a big, big match for him today. It's huge, isn't it? All credit to the World Snooker Tour for instigating the £20,000, which I guess, if you perceive it in one way, it's a loan, but it is a guarantee that you are going to make some money across the full season. And as far as the run here is concerned, it's 7.5 for this stage. It's a guaranteed 5-figure payday, which, if players are not in the latter stages of the Scottish or the English, that could be massively significant in the battle, for instance, to make the World Grand Prix, which will be on ITV4 from January the 16th. This run this week for all these guys is of major significance. Absolutely, you know, and if they get into that Grand Prix, it's an extra 5,000. So, you know, there's a lot at stake for a lot of these players. And, yeah, big money, lots of prize money and lots of ranking points as well, and move them up the rankings. So, yeah, a lot of big matches coming up and a lot at stake for a lot of players, for sure. The only one we haven't touched on, and we'll be joining our great commentator Dave Hendon in just a moment, Joe Perry against Graham Dott, the reigning Welsh Open champion against the former world champion. Now, Graham was typically self-deprecating after coming through that 6-5 match a couple of days ago. He said, well, neither he or David Lilley played well, but he did really well to beat the former world seniors champion. That is a great matchup. And if Dott gets through, he loves the big stage, and he loves the slightly longer format. Well, it's a match that both players, whoever gets through that match, any of the top 16 won't like playing the winner of that match, that's for sure, and as in the same with the other matches as well. But particularly those because they've been proven winners, you know. Dott, of course, former world champion. Joe Perry, you know, he's won a couple of ranking tournaments as well, a very experienced player. But that's going to be a really tough, hard match play match, that one. It's going to be hard to call that one. Both very experienced, great all-round players. And there won't be much given, no quarter given between those two when you play them. So I'm going to keep a good eye on that match as well this afternoon. Yeah, can't wait. I know you're going to be earning your money the hard way this afternoon, Ken, because he's about to go and join Dave Hendon in the commentary box. It feels like today the quality and the atmosphere here is so intense, we've surely got to have more than 1 or 2 6-5 deciders. It just feels like that kind of day. Dave Hendon, a very good afternoon to you. I hope you've had your Weetabix or whatever else you needed for breakfast. It's going to be a long one, but we cannot wait. Take it away, Maestro.
Thank you very much, Rob. Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, the quality this afternoon is extraordinary, really. Players used to winning tournaments. As Rob said, 7 of the 8 have won tournaments. These are our 4 tables. We'll be jumping around between them and trying to show you the best action from across this arena. So table 1, I think, is where we need to start. Ding Junhui is a 3 times UK champion. Always wonderful to watch Ding when he's playing well. Came close to making that maximum the other day. He's up against the milkman, Robert Milkins, of course, the higher ranked player of the 2. Ding has just fallen away a little bit in recent times, 38 in the world. But as I say, this tournament is one where he seems to traditionally do well. He won in York just 3 years ago, actually, his 3rd title. So, yeah, we're looking forward to another day. And, of course, in between sessions, we will have the draw for the first round in York. So we'll find out who's playing who come Saturday when this event final stages get underway. So another day, Ken, dawns here in Sheffield.
Yeah, looking forward to it though. I really enjoyed yesterday. I mean, some cracking matches, great stories as well, and particularly, you know, of course, a lot has been made of the Jimmy White, but what a cracking match that was last night between Matthew Stevens and Will Hughes that went right to the wire. 6-5 match. But yeah, but I really enjoyed the snooker all day yesterday, and I think we're going to be in some cracking matches again today, Dave. This one, I think, is the pick of the bunch this afternoon for sure.
Definitely, and Milkins, you know, obviously we talk about Gibraltar, the victory there, but actually this season he's been pretty consistent, a couple of last 16s, and as I say, he comes in, I think, full of confidence. But Ding, you know, we know what he's capable of, and if he can produce his best, he can beat anybody. And there'll be a lot of people here hoping, of course, he gets to the final stages, where again, and yet another name you don't want to draw if you're a top 16 player. Gone a little bit cagey already, the black covered here. They've played 6 times before. It's actually 5-1 to Ding in the head-to-head. But this round, and we see it in the World Championship as well, it's a particular, it's got this particular sort of vibe of its own, hasn't it? Because it's all about really getting to 6 and just getting in the final stages.
Yeah, without a doubt. And, I think it's a close one to call, this one. Ding, obviously, you know, has won more titles. 3-time winner of this event, as you mentioned. And Milkins, though, come into a bit of form over the last year. And, you know, playing with a lot of confidence, so it's a tough one. It's good to see Ding, you know, start to play well again. I mean, he had a little bit of a hiatus, and of course during COVID he was back with his family, back in China. Well, he's back now. Been practicing hard up in his academy. I've been in there quite a bit, and I've been watching him, and he's doing a lot of practice. Just lacking a bit of sort of match sharpness, you know, and he could do with a good deep run. And if he does, you know, I mean, when he plays anywhere near his best, he's a match for anybody. His cue ball control is just exemplary. But it just goes to show you in any sport, David, it's just all about, you know, the little bit between the ears, the confidence, you know, the demons you have to overcome. Such a psychological game, our game, snooker.
Absolutely. I mean, they can all play, of course, but it's when the pressure comes on and dealing with knockbacks as well. That wasn't one of the Milkman's better efforts, was it?
He certainly didn't deliver there, did he? Short, well short of pace. He's left an easy one here for Ding. Now, I'd like to be able to get onto the pink into the left centre. He'll come around and have a look. I think it's potable.
Played well against Tepchar and knew, of course, that was always really going to be an open game. That's the way Tepchar plays. But Ding had the 2 centuries. Of course, one of them could have been a maximum. He missed the yellow. If he makes one today, by the way, it'll be 600th of his career. So that's one little thing to look out for.
600 maximum.
Steady, Ken. Of course, he's seen other Chinese players come to the fore, and that is a lot to do with him, of course, for creating the boom in itself. But I guess now he's trying to sort of re-establish himself a little bit.
Yeah, and I wonder, you know, will that sort of inspire him even more, make him even more determined? I'm sure he'd be delighted about how well his compatriots have done over the last couple of years, particularly Bing Tao, Jin Tong.
8.
So it's not like where he was for at least 10 or so years, the top dog from China. He's not anymore. I'm just wondering whether that'll make him get a bit more of a sort of a bite,
13.
Determination to his game. It's just such a wonderful player. I love watching him play.
Well, it's amazing, Ken. If you look at the ranking list, he's actually now the 8th highest ranked Chinese player. because the likes of Lu Haishan, Fang Zhengyi, Lu Ning, Zhao Gudong, as well as the Zhao Xingtongs, the Yan Bingtaos have gone above him. But he's still Ding, that's the point. He's still a 14-time ranking event winner, 3-time UK champion.
And I'm sure any of those guys would love to have half the record that Ding has.
90.
He's still the flag bearer from China, without a shadow of a doubt. He's having to work hard. I mean, we talk about his cue ball, but it hasn't been pinpoint just yet. But he's having to work hard for this break. He's just got at the moment, it's just been trying to get into prime position, but because of the way the balls are, he's just got to try and pick them off here.
$25. $26. $32. 33.
2005 was Ding's first UK title. Of course, he'd won the China Open. That was his big breakthrough in Beijing. That started the boom in China. But he backed that up. He beat Steve Davis. Steve was, of course, towards the end of his career. He was 48. Ding was 18. So there's a bit of a difference in ages. But youth triumphed. Then in 2009, he beat John Higgins in the final. And 3 years ago, Stephen Maguire.
Yeah, I remember his breakthrough in China, in the China Open, because he beat me in the semi-final and beat me well. I think it was 6-0, and I was probably lucky to get nil at the time, but I remember playing Ding first. First time I played him was in
40.
In Thailand, and he was just 15 years of age. Could see from then he was going to be a big star. Just as how the way he played, his cue action. I mean, when you watch him, if we get like a head-on view, he's just got the perfect stance, the perfect setup. His head stays very, very still on the shot. Nice short cue action. You see his back arm, how nice and perpendicular it is to the cue. It's wonderful. There's not a lot that can go wrong. And that's why his touch as well. That's why he's been such a great break builder. I don't know how many centuries he's made, but he's one of the best break builders that you could wish to see in the game. And he's up there well with the likes of Robertson, Judd Trump, Ronnie, Higgins, all of them.
Yeah, and in terms of, we'll talk about his ranking, but you know, the pandemic had an effect because firstly he was stuck in Britain and his family were in China, so quite rightly he wanted to get back there and see them. He had to wait the best part of a year to do that, and then took an extended break to be with them, which you can understand. So last season he came back late, didn't play in everything, and that obviously affected his form as well.
Yeah, and you put into the equation, he's missed that one, but I don't think he's done too much damage. When you put the equation in that he had a newborn as well,
47.
you know, a new baby, and that was a big change in his life, and not being able to see his little one, that was, yeah, very, very difficult. So,
well, their last meeting was a memorable one for all sorts of reasons in Turkey. Robert Milkins had a bit of an adventure the night before the tournament. Let's just leave it at that. And I'm being sort of diplomatic there. But the next day he played Ding and nearly beat him despite his travails. And Ding got the win. But yeah, it was. But of course, then Milkins bounced back And he's had a terrible season. He only won 3 matches. He bounced back to win in Gibraltar, which is incredible, a few weeks later. Got the balls open there, didn't he? Has to, really, because he's 51 points behind. Let's just, if we could just drop into table 3 just briefly while this frame, because Jordan Brown's made a good start over on table 3 and looks like he's about to win it. Jordan Brown, Welsh Open champion in 2021. And actually, winning this season, winning the last 16 of the British Open, his last 16 in York last year, so he's looking to book his place there. He's playing Zach Surety. Now, he's the one player in this session who's not won a ranking title. The other 7 have. Got back on through the Q School earlier this year. And Jordan, well, good start here. And, of course, good friend and practice partner, kind of Mark Allen, who's had a good season.
Yeah, and he's a good player, Jordan Brown. Steadily climbing up the rankings. Become a really tough opponent for anybody now. It's going to be tough for Zach Surety today, no doubt about it. But it just shows you, doesn't it, the strength in depth today. 7 ranking tournament winners. And Ding Junhui, of course, the top of them, he's won 14, is it? Yeah, so good first frame here for Jordan Brown.
Yeah, let's nip to table 2, because I think we can just see Dave Gilbert as well winning his first frame of the day. And this is a meeting with Mark King, who's a very, very experienced player. If we can go to table 2,
34.
Here we go. Yeah, King turned pro 91, but Gilbert, of course, he's not in the top 16. He was a world semi-finalist. He won the Championship League last year, but he's just looking to try and build up as many points as he can to get back in. And of course, this event is big money. So if you get a run in the UK Championship, you can only really go one way in the world rankings. This is a good start for Gilbert. I think we expect a high quality. I mean, we expect a lot from these guys, but this could be a century coming up here.
43.
Actually, no, sorry, he had a break earlier on. But even so, he's dominated frame 1.
Yeah, and
49.
Nice player, Dave Gilbert, quality, big scorer. There's sort of a contrast in styles in this match. You know, it's a classic, different styles.
56 in a frame. There we go. Yeah, sure.
Very experienced, great safety player. Try and make it hard for Dave Gilbert, and Dave Gilbert just try and win it in one visit.
And this is the other table, table 4. We're picking it up at a delicate stage here. Joe Perry, Graham Dott. What these two don't know about snooker is not worth knowing. And just 7 points in it. Perry, of course, Welsh Open champion last season. And Graham Dott, a former world champion. We spoke to him yesterday in the studio. He was looking forward to this.
Yeah, just goes all level, 44. And that red,
44.
it's close to the left-hand side cushion. It's going to be the key ball, you would say. Is he a bit straight on the red? Is he in the middle? Not one to hide his emotions on the table, Joe Perry. He won't mind me saying that, I'm sure.
No, I've got a lot of time for Joe. He's one of those people, he loves snooker,
Yeah.
loves it inside out, but also he doesn't mind telling you the things he doesn't like so much. But ultimately, will always come back to playing and always looking forward to playing.
He had that wonderful victory, didn't he, in his ranking tournament win last year against Judd Trump in the final.
51.
The result that was, and how well he played.
Big early shot here.
Yeah, this is the key ball. I think he's got to play this. Just drop it in, dead weight. Don't try and stun it in. It makes it a bit more difficult. Yeah, nice shot.
52.
Out for the black, perfect. Now, just wondering, does that yellow pass the brown? He's got a nice angle on the black. He'll come up, have a look to see does it pass the brown. I think it does. Be pretty tight. Let's see from this shot. Yeah, obviously it does. A little bit of left-hand side. Yeah, but it's not. Sometimes the brown here,
59.
it's in your eye line. It can put you off. So it's not a gimme this, but if he gets it, it should be on the green and it should be the first frame. Frame ball this, you'd say. Ah, nicely played. Good pot.
this is his 31st UK Championship, because he is one of the class of 92. We talk about the Holy Trinity, Ronnie, John and Mark, but Joe Perry and Dominic Dale, the other two players who were still on the tour, turned pro in 92. I look back at his first year, because he had to play a lot of qualifiers at the Norbreck, and in fact he lost very first match to Brett Patmore, 5-3, so things turned round pretty quickly for Joe. He was semi-finalist 2004 and 2005.
68.
Graham Dott was in first, 44-0 up, but this is impressive clearance. The last red and the yellow, both you know, early confidence-boosting shots, I think.
Nice frame to win, isn't it? You know, when your opponent gets in, and then you come back with a lovely break. Good start this for Joe Perry. This could be a really close match, this one.
Yeah, I think that could apply across the board today. We'll maybe go, after he pots this, to table 2 to look at Gilbert and King, because Ding Junhui actually won that first frame. He was in a good position with the lead he had, and the ball's awkward against Milkins. We'll see plenty of Ding this afternoon, but this is Dave Gilbert.
9.
Twice last 16 in the UK is his best. As I say, won that Championship League last season, but just didn't sort of maintain the early form that he showed last season. And his top 16 place at the moment has not been recaptured.
16.
19 he is, so he's not far away.
He's got wonderful cue action, Dave Gilbert, very nice and free flowing.
$17.
He also likes a pair of lucky socks, Ken, much like yourself.
Yeah, he does. I like that. A little bit different. Remember him wearing those in the World Championship, wasn't it?
24.
They were his lucky socks, and he was so close, wasn't he, getting to the final of the World Championship? Lost 17-16 to John Higgins. He was devastated.
Yeah, it was an illustration
25.
of what an emotional roller coaster that tournament is, because Dave, you could understand being emotional, but Rob interviewed him in the corridor outside the arena. There were members of staff crying, World Snooker staff, Crucible staff, because they got caught up in the drama. They knew what it meant to him. At that point, he hadn't won a tournament. There are the socks. Let's see how lucky they are for him today.
They look pretty good to me.
32.
This is 4 reds, 4 blacks. Now, you could play this with lots of top spin into the bottom of the pack. Try and bring another few reds into play here. Oh, just lost the cue
33.
ball. So let's see, can he pot this black and try and make it a cannon on a red just to hold the cue ball. It's missable, this black, though. He'll take it on for sure. If it goes in, he gets a nice connection on the red. Yeah, it just wants to hit that full ball almost. It's early days. Don't want to give your opponent an easy chance, but you've got to take this black on. He's just worried about, can he make the right connection on the red? Oh, he's missed it now. Has he got a shot on the long red? Get away from that green. He has, and he's
40.
okay. And if you can knock this long straight red in down into this bottom right corner pocket, he'll be back on the black. This is a nice little test of your cueing, this one. Oh,
David Gilbert.
Unlucky.
40.
look, he was perfect, wasn't he?
Yeah, and he's left an immediate chance for Mark King to counter-attack. Yeah, just on 147. Zhou Yulong last night, it was my mistake. He wasn't actually on one. My defence, we'd been on for about 9 hours by that point. But yeah, he wasn't on one, as he actually said in the interview. But will we see one before the day's over, I wonder? Mark King just looking to settle down. Didn't make much impact on the first frame.
One.
He's, of course, got, as I say, we talked about the class of 92. He's from the class of 91. He goes back even further. That was the first year the game went open, and he's still on the tour. Currently 51st in the world.
was so nice, wasn't it, a few years ago to see him win that Northern Ireland Open. Had all his family over. Very proud moment for him, delighted for him. Used to come into the snooker club in Ilford when he was just 12 years of age with his dad, Bill.
Mark King 1.
He was very good to me as a young amateur. He used to drive me around when I had no car. And he stayed with me right up until the 90, 98, 99. But Mark, yeah, wonderful player. He'd be disappointed with that though. Good chance that was.
Yeah, particularly with the Reds where they were, it was a good scoring opportunity. So Gilbert
1.
back in, just looking at that key wheel to slope, which it has done. Gilbert actually made the 147th 147. It was at the Championship League, so if there had been a crowd, they would have gone wild. But unfortunately, it was just in front of nobody, but it was a little feather in his cap.
Yeah, he was also involved in the longest ever frame, wasn't he, at the World Championship? Over 2 hours against Fergal O'Brien, and then the final frame decider as well.
Yeah, I think that was here, wasn't it, at Bonds Forge? So not sure his memories of the place are that great, but anyway, maybe he's had therapy since then.
5.
And apparently, I think they played over 1 hour on the yellow ball. I mean, that's quite incredible.
6.
Yeah, as Rob Walker would tell you, the frame actually lasted longer than the men's marathon record. So it's a long time, isn't it? But it's that decided to get to the Crucible. It's probably the only frame that could happen in.
Wow.
8.
I mean, that's inch perfect. He thought he'd overhit it. Not quite sure he was playing for that red. I think he was playing for the red left of the cue ball. We got into the cue ball so much. He's got to play a delicate little cannon here on the pink. Push the pink towards the right centre pocket. Maybe. Yeah, I think he could play a little cannon, just knock the pink towards the right centre. Could maybe run through for the black as well. But I think the shot is just to play the little delicate cannon here. Little stun shot, yeah.
9.
Very good.
So he went wrong initially, but Mark King missed a black after the initial red, and Gilbert.
16.
He wants a fluent match here. Mark King is a great scrapper, and that's a compliment, by the way. But Gilbert wants the balls open. These are the sort of frames that suit him, I think, and where he's more likely to prosper today.
Yeah, I think, you know, Mark had a good chance when Gilbert missed on 40.
22.
He missed that black off the spot, and those are the type of chances that Mark King has really got to make the most of, just to make an impression on this match. But once you get the balls open, like Dave did, and you give him a chance, this is what's going to happen. This frame is over, Dave.
Yeah, and I think we can confirm 2-0. So let's see if we can get back to table 3.
29.
This was the black, firstly, that King missed. That's what sort of did him in. But table 3, Jordan Brown's made a great start here. Completely dominant against Zach Surety. And you can see we arrive at pretty much frame ball, just about. Needs, yeah, this is frame ball.
71.
For a moment there, the high break was actually under threat, but he's played down on a bulk colour. 144, Chow Yu Peng. Could have been beaten, but Jordan's more interested in just nailing this frame. Yeah, it was great to see him. I mean, I've known Jordan for a while, and you know, he had a few years off the tour. He was working in a petrol station, got back on, winning that Welsh Open, beating the great Ronnie O'Sullivan 9-8 in the final. It was just a wonderful moment for him. And he did okay actually last season. Didn't pull up trees to the same extent, but was pretty consistent. He's 22 in the world. That's his highest ever ranking. So he's looking again for a good run in this tournament, just to shore up that position. Gilbert confirmed, by the way, 2-0. And I think we can confirm Jordan Brown as well at 2-0. So let's go over to table 4, because Joe Perry looks like he's about to wrap that frame up. Pretty swift start all around. Here we go. You can see Joe also well in front here. From 44-0 down, he won the first. This is all one break as well.
Yeah, looking good, isn't he? Looking very sharp. Well, we had quite a few centuries, didn't we, last night? Not so many in the afternoon, but standard last night was quality. Quality.
Yeah, I mean, all week really. I mean, this is day 6, so coming into today, we had 68 centuries in the first 5 days. You know, that's a high standard through the ranks. There really is. Joe Perry's actually only made 1 all season, so
94.
Maybe finding a bit of form in a very important event here. This black then is for a century. Graham Dott since breaking down, 44-0 up. Not much of a look in.
I'll just try to clip that red out. I'll tell you what, this will be some shot. I'm going to try and cut this red down the rail. Stop it, Joe.
Well, excellent stuff. 102 for Perry, so he leads 2-0, as does Dave Gilbert, as does Jordan Brown. Let's get back to table 1, where Ding Junhui's 1-0 up against Robert Milkins. And at the table here in frame 2,
50.
Just a few in front. Sorry, a few behind. Always expect Ding's name to be on the left-hand side, but he's actually the lowest seed in this.
Yeah, once again, table got a little bit scrappy in this frame, but those 3 reds are going to be hard to move over on the
16.
right-hand side. But he can drop this black in, get on behind that loose red. Now we'll just watch his head here, how it stays so still. Perfect example there. Very important for a snooker player.
23. $24.
Not so good, that one. Didn't get the right angle on the blue. It's going to be very hard to disturb any reds from this shot. In fact, I'm not quite sure what he can do. He can't really.
Green
he can
ball.
only pot the blue, really. He can only pot the blue for points, so he's going to play the green just to play a safety shot. But it's a big target here. I mean, it shouldn't be any problem. Just roll in, maybe off one cushion into the back of these reds for Robert Milkins.
Well, while he just gets ready to play the shot, we'd love to hear from you again. We had a lot of tweets yesterday and a lot of interesting comments and questions. So at Ken Doherty 1997 on Twitter, or at Dave Hendon, or indeed at We Are WST. And in particular, here's a question, okay, what's the best UK Championship final? Now, there's been a lot to choose from, because it started in 1977, and because older viewers will remember the early ones, and we've got new snooker fans who remember the recent ones, the old best of 31s, the best of 19s. A lot to choose from, so we'd love to hear your views on the best ever UK final. And just to reiterate, it's at Ken Doherty 1997, at Dave Hendon, or at We Are WST.
Yeah, I grew up watching those best of 31 frame finals. Davis against Alex Higgins. Wow. Willie Thorne nearly won the UK Championship one year, didn't he? Missed the blue to go 14-9, was it, instead of 13-10?
Yeah, well, funny enough, the whole match is on YouTube. And during lockdown, with nothing to do, I didn't watch it all, but I watched a lot of it. And firstly, Willie played brilliantly. He played the way they play now. There's a lot of centuries. But when he missed that blue, they went to the BBC studio, David Vine and John Spencer. And John Spencer said, it could be David at the end of the night. We're looking back on that blue. the truth is, nearly 40 years later, we're looking back on it, aren't we? Because it was such a significant moment for Willie, for the tournament.
One.
Steve obviously turned it around and won.
Yeah, incredible. And it was just a blue off the spot, wasn't it? It wasn't that difficult. He just took his eye off it. It wasn't like it was pressure blue or anything like that. Just took it very casually.
6.
Great WT. And he sadly missed.
Yeah, he's still spoken about so much. Every tournament you go to, someone's got a story about Willie.
Seven.
That was a nice shot. Got top side of the blue now. Well, this will be some shot to try and spin the cue ball off. A couple of cushions to get beside that red. It's got to miss the black.
12.
There's a big target, yellow and green, but maybe the blue might be in the way if he just comes off that right hand side cushion, left hand side cushion. He's got to avoid the blue. And it's the most important thing here sometimes is to get the red safe. You always try and put your opponent in a difficult situation, but get the red safe first.
Robert Milkins, 12.
It's not bad. He's got the red safe. Okay, Dean can see the right hand side of the red. May try and swing this off 4 cushions here. Watch the cue ball. Try and get it back up behind that green. No. Just tried to play a containing safety shot, and it's not too bad. He's done a good job there. I do like, as much as I love the centuries, David, I do like frames when they get down to this, you know, and you've got just one red and they're trying to, you know, outmaneuver, outfox each other, trying to lay snookers and keep that, you know, because the whole frame rests on, you would say, whoever pots this red, so it's quite intriguing.
Definitely. Well, it's twofold really. One is the tactical skill required, but also then it's how does it affect the player who doesn't win the frame, you know, going into the next frame. How do they sort of clear their mind? It's not always that straightforward.
That is a brilliant shot from Ding. That was a perfect connection on the red. You had to hit it on the perfect side, on the left hand side, to knock the red to that right hand side cushion, and that's not luck at all. That was perfectly played. Great shot. And he's got Robert here in a slight problem. He's got to avoid the double kiss on the red here. Watch the double kiss. Yeah. Now can he avoid the blue? If it doesn't, he's going to leave him a chance. A chance for Ding, albeit difficult one. But he could take this red on, drop the cue ball somewhere near the ball cushion for that green. Tough pot this, but he'll go close. Milkins will be faring the worst here.
One.
What a shot. And have a look at the cue ball. Robert Milkins. When that red hit the blue, he would have been faring the worst. That was a wonderful. The last couple of shots from Ding, apart from that one, he's lucky there. He put his hand up.
4.
Those last couple of shots, the clip out, getting out of snooker, the escape, and then that red.
Yeah, you feel he deserved that little nudge on the yellow, actually, how it finished with the red he potted.
6.
Yeah, I mean, if he plays his best, as I say, he can beat anybody, and there's a lot of Ding fans hoping that's going to happen. We've already had a tweet, actually, from someone saying he's going to win it again this year.
9.
You'd certainly get a good price, wouldn't you? Particularly before the start of the tournament. I mean, if he does come through this, and this is a big frame, I know it's early days, but as we spoke about earlier, frames like this,
13.
it's sort of a It's a double whammy, isn't it? You've stolen a frame from your opponent. Could be 1-all. All of a sudden, you've gone 2 frames in the lead, and you've really
18.
hurt him as well. Oh, he's played a poor shot there. His little smile. He still should get the pink, but this should have been straightforward.
Yeah, he knows it as well. He's just put himself under it unnecessarily. But in it goes. So that's 2-0 to Ding.
Point
He's going to
4.
pop the black. But he's looking good. He's looking sharp. And he'll need, of course, 6 frames today to get into the draw, which will be between sessions. At the end of this session, we'll have the draw for the final stages. I think table 3 we should have a look at, because Zach Surety is maybe the player that other people don't know much about. Now, he qualified for the Q School here in the spring, so Ponds Forge again, happy memories for him. It's always a nervy affair. It's right after the World Championship, so people kind of turn away from snooker a little bit. They've had the Crucible. It's almost like it's the holidays, but not for him. He had to come here and battle through that Q School. He did so. So he's got a 2-year card, and he's fought his way through to the final qualifying round here. He'd never won a match in the UK Championship at all before this year. So even just winning his first match, that was his best performance. But he's now with a chance to get into the main draw in York. That would be the biggest step he'd ever taken in a snooker tournament. Jordan Brown, though, has played well so far, leads by 2 frames to 0. We've had a few tweets coming in about the great finals, which we'll just we'll go through during the course of the coverage. John McBride first off the blocks, and he's gone for one. You mentioned actually Ken, 83. Alex Higgins coming from 7-0 down to beat Steve Davis. That was such a rivalry, wasn't it? Just completely different characters, and you were either one or the other. You couldn't sit on the fence.
Well, I think that those times, you know, that really sort of brought snooker to the fore. You know, not only, you know, in British television or Irish television, but around the world. I think it just brought a lot of people to the game, a lot of fans to the game, because there was that great rivalry. You had the clean-cut Steve Davis sipping water, and then you had the, you know, the temperamental Alex Higgins sipping vodka. So yeah, but it was fascinating. You know, one who played a methodical, all-round great game. Higgins, who went for his shots and tried to entertain the crowd, and it was just completely different characters, but fascinating to watch.
Charles Kane has also chosen that, as has Mark Lovell, who says the Hurricane will surely be smiling over the Whirlwind's resurgence. Of course, Jimmy White will be in the draw. Now, Zach Surety 52-0 up. And a perfect chance here to win his first frame, settle into the match. Kelly Barker, good afternoon, Kelly. In terms of standard, she says the 87 final, Steve Davis, Jimmy White. I mentioned that yesterday. It's kind of been overlooked a little bit. That was a terrific match. That is on YouTube. But she says her favourite final she's seen live would be 2011, Judd Trump against Mark Allen. Amazing attacking snooker, and a real next generation feel about it.
Yeah, it was. Agreed there. Oh, Zach just trying to pinch a little bit in the pocket on 53. Wow. Just pink and a couple more reds would have been enough to get his first frame on the board. Could rue that mistake.
Yeah, just when he got into a really good position to win his first frame, he's concerned now about the counter-attack.
I think the best final has to be 2002, David, you know.
In a completely unbiased way. You've chosen one you were in. Yeah, I mean, the one I remember when I was younger watching snooker was 1990, which was Stephen Hendry, Steve Davis, and that went 16-15. And of course, it was sort of a changing of the guard. I mean, Hendry was already world champion, but it was the sort of passing of the torch, the new era, the new decade, and in a way, a new way of playing also, sort of fearless approach that Stephen Hendry had.
Yeah, I remember that. Was it the blue that he played with the rest down the rail to get...
To force a decider, yeah.
Force a decider, yeah. I mean, I think that was sort of the real sort of changing of the guard. It sort of gave Hendry the confidence to go on and dominate the sport throughout the 90s. Sort of shook. I think it shook Steve Davis for a little while.
It must have been confusing for Steve, because up until that point he'd been the best player ever, and you sort of think, well, how can anyone be better? But of course sport always moves forward. Same with Stephen. You think, okay, this is as high a watermark as you can get. Then along comes Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Zach Shorty, have to be screaming in his chair, I'd say. Would he get a chance? There's a couple of balls that may get him back to the table. This red that's close to the right hand side cushion. The green is not going to be straightforward. Green to brown. 31 behind. So we need 3 remaining reds, all colours, and then up to including the pink to win the frame here.
Dave Gilbert, I can tell you, is pressed on to 3-0 over Mark King. He missed that black king, didn't he, in frame 2 after potting an initial red and just struggling to make an early impact. I wonder if we could just very quickly jump to table 4, because they're on the brown there, Joe Perry and Graham Dott. And we might just want to see whether Perry can just take this frame out, then we'll be back to table 3. So here we go. Well, he should do, I guess. This is for 3-0. Graham Dott, I was watching this, he missed a black on 49 and he broke down on 44 in frame 1, so a bit of a frustrating start for him. 2 frames he could have won.
Very impressive though from Joe Perry, isn't it? Got that century in the second frame. He cleared up in the first frame, didn't he? With a good break as well, and this is another really top break. Well done.
Yeah, so that's Joe Perry's frame. Let's go back to table 3 then. Jordan Brown has potted that red on the side cushion. So just to confirm, it's 3-0 to Dave Gilbert, it's 3-0 to Joe Perry, and it's 2-0 to Ding.
Yeah, I think that was a good choice from Jordan Brown. He took that more difficult red early, and now he's left the easier red. So yellow to green and green to brown will be his only real problems here. And I'm saying that it's not a big problem. Just gone straight on the blue. Very tall lad, Jordan Brown. I just wondering, is he measuring that up to leave the rest, or can he reach it with a little extension on the end of the cue? What other countries have we got tweets coming in from, Dave? I know we've had a lot from North America. We had some from South Africa, Mauritius yesterday.
Yeah, all sorts of places actually, and it's great as well. The people, particularly in North America, who don't always get the chance to watch snooker so easily, been tuning in. It just shows the interest is there, and hopefully, you know, in the future there'll be more opportunities to watch on YouTube.
And the figures have been amazing, haven't they, for the last couple of days, particularly yesterday. Nice shot. Nice shot, and it's not a bad angle, as long as he wasn't straight on the green. So he's got an angle to pot the green with the extension, extended rest. But he doesn't have to hit this very hard at all. Just a nice little soft screw off the cushion. So this is virtually frame ball, and what a steal it would be. Zach Shorty was in, missed that pink into the right centre pocket on 53. Oh, that was the shot, wasn't it? That was the shot. Didn't expect him to miss it.
Yeah, that was to really take control of the match effectively. You felt for 3-0, so well, we'll see during the course of the afternoon how significant that is. Firstly, Surety's got to win the frame from it, of course. He's already 9 points in front, so green, brown and blue needed.
3.
Yeah, he's in a bit of uncharted territory, really, with a chance to qualify for the second biggest tournament on the calendar. So this is a big day. You could argue it's his biggest day actually of his career so far as a professional. So there's going to be nerves there, but this might settle them. Because that could easily have been 3-0, but the blue, and it should be 2-1.
Yeah, this will definitely settle him down for sure. John Virgo always says, you never really settle down until you win your first frame. And it's very true.
John Virgo, 1979 UK champion. Anyway, that's 2-1. So table 1, I think, beckons for us next. This is Ding Junhui and Robert Milkins. It's 2-0 to Ding. Milkins 46-0 up in the next.
Oh, what a
1.
shot. Just, he's been knocking a couple of these in. He's got a little bit of a stretch for the black here. Could play a little cannon on the red. It's on the top cushion just beneath the black here. Knock it towards this right corner. He tried it, but it's gone slightly wrong. Just played it too hard.
8.
He's got to try and hide this red that's close to this bottom right corner pocket. So anywhere up the left hand side of the table. Or what he's doing now is just take the red away from the pocket. Doesn't want to knock it safe though.
Ding Junhui, 8.
Still good cue ball.
Yeah, we've just seen in the brown shirty matches, if you're 2-0 down, obviously frame 3 feels big. Joe Perry 3-0 up. Oh, that's a terrific pot from Milkins. That's more like it from the Milkman. So let's see if this leads somewhere. Cue ball pretty much on that bulk cushion. But Robert Milkins strokes it in. Don't want to be behind the pink, and he's not. Yeah, he's always one of those players, Robert Milkins, you just enjoy watching. He's got that sort of strut around the table, and very fluent player, likes to get on with it. Seemed to be sort of cascading down the rankings to the point where, you know, his tour place was under threat until it all turned around in Gibraltar. Now he's 27 in the world. We saw him in the Champion of Champions last week. He drew Ronnie O'Sullivan. In fact, he played pretty well. I thought he didn't get the running in that match. He lost 4-2, but he put up a pretty good showing in the tournament. O'Sullivan ultimately won. Lovely.
That was a beautiful little shot, wasn't it? A little bit of arc on the cue ball. Plenty of top spin.
13.
51 ahead. Black will be 58. So another red and a colour. Robert Milkins. Not the milkman. Robert Milkmans. Robert Milkins gets his first frame on the board.
21.
Well, I suppose being a milkman, he should have a lot of bottle.
Yeah. Well, they always say the cream comes to the top as well.
26.
I love watching him play.
27.
Just like, he'll hardly chalk his cue. He played 2 or 3 shots in a row where he won't chalk his cue. Just gets on with it. He played this left-handed.
34.
Well, he got it with a terrific red. Of course, he was already in front, and that's 2-1 to Ding. Now then, I think we could have a look at maybe at table 2, which is Dave Gilbert, Mark King. That's 3-0 to Gilbert. King has made very little impact on this match so far. And he's going to try and find a way back in. Mark King, a semi-finalist in the UK Championship a little while ago now. 2004. In fact, that was in York. He's one of those players who always makes it hard for people, but I think for him, he also, in this match, will need to score as well. Had a real thriller against Ben Wollaston in the last round, 6-5, went right down to the death. Oh, but Gilbert, evidence there, he seems to be playing really well so far. And, well, he's going to be a handful, I think.
Yeah, he's got a lovely smooth cue action, hasn't he? And when the long reds are going in, you're in trouble. Create some good opportunities for himself. He's got, as I said,
6.
Good cue ball control. Makes some big breaks, Dave Gilbert. And he has done already in this match. Looks in really good form.
Seven.
Well, this is a real chance to press on and take control. He's trying to get the black out, reds open. Well, the black's gone safe, so not quite worked out, but he seems in an aggressive mood, and I think he would know he'd have to be playing king.
13.
As I say, he wants to play the match on his terms. Get on the front foot.
I'll tell you what, this would be a bonus if the pink goes into the bottom right corner as well as this red. Right through the gap. Have a look at this. What a
14.
bonus this would be. And I think it does, you know.
I actually saw him this morning on my way in outside the Crucible. It's almost as if you just walk to the Crucible, there'll be a snooker player sort of around there generally, and there was Dave.
Well, it's the Mecca, isn't it? I think a lot of players just like to go there and just see the Crucible, you know. It brings back a lot of memories for a lot of players. In fact, when I was passing by it myself this morning, I took a picture of it, you know, to send it on a tweet or a post on Instagram. I'll actually might send it on a little tweet now, but it's always lovely every time I walk by it, and I'm sure a lot of the players would do the same, even before they, whether they're staying around there or not, even they might just walk up and just walk by it, see the Crucible name, and it's one of those, it's amazing. It's like our Mecca, of course, but when you see the signs for the Crucible even, it sort of gives you a little goosebumps. It does for me, and anyway, I wonder what the other lads would say.
I think that's true for fans as well. I just think it triggers so many memories, just the name, as you say, the site of the place.
21.
Of course, the look of it's changed over the years, but the theatre itself, with the stage where we play the World Championship, is pretty much unaltered. I know they had an upgrade, but the feel of the place is the same. The little spotlights and all that stuff. Fantastic. Anyway, Gilbert here pressing on.
I'm going to post a picture of it, Dave, and I'm going to tag you in. How's that?
Lovely. Oh, that wasn't so lovely though. That was not so lovely. Dave Gilbert from nowhere has missed that
21.
pick. Now, is that going to be a changing point? Mark King needs one. It's up to him to take advantage.
All right, come on, Mark. You've got to go to work here. Try and get yourself back into this match. Pink is your ball. He'll be trying to get back on the spot straight away. It's not going to be an easy break, this, but all you have to do is concentrate on these few reds underneath the pink first, and then worry about the ones around the black spot. The most difficult one is going to be the one that's on this top cushion, but doesn't have to worry about that yet. Just get yourself back into the frame.
I like the fact we're now communicating via tweet, even though we're sat next to each other. That's the modern world, isn't it?
Yes.
As I say, Mark King, 51 in the world, you know, he starts sort of drifting into the 50s, you're suddenly concerned about your tour card. So this UK Championship is big, financially of course, but ranking points as well. Players on 7,500 now, 10,000 it goes up to with a chance to win
14.
more. In fact, it goes up to 15 in the last 16. So it's a big old match, this.
15.
Yeah, Gilbert was looking very good and out of nowhere, and it was out of nowhere, missed that pink to the left middle.
Thank you. 22.
Yeah, that Belfast win that Ken mentioned, 2016, it was an extraordinary final with Barry Hawkins. We've played in a rather extraordinary venue,
28.
the Titanic Centre, which it was sort of like a marquee in effect. Very noisy, but we ended up with just a really thrilling match and a great human story. I think a lot of people warmed to just the fact he'd been at it so long and finally won a tournament.
Yeah. Oh, I was telling you, I was sitting at home watching it on the couch, and you know, I was welling up with tears in my eyes, because I know, and for such a long time, you know, and the battles he's gone through, trials and tribulations.
Yes.
When you know someone for that long, you know, as I said, I used to play him when he was only about 12, and
35.
his father was one of my best friends, still is, and you know, he's it was very emotional to see him win his first one. He'd come so close on a few occasions, never got over the line, but yeah, it was quite a humbling moment, I must say. I think a lot of players would have been very happy for him in the game as well.
Yeah, and then we saw similar not long after with Anthony Hamilton in Germany. Same story.
Yeah.
36.
It's looking like a 3-1 ding, by the way. He potted 8 reds, 8 blacks, but he's playing well, and you know, he's only taken just about an hour to get to 3-1 against Robert Milkins.
Yeah, this way the break is getting hard. As I said, this red on the top cushion, close to the top cushion, near this right corner pocket, is the more difficult one. He's played this nicely. That's a tremendous shot. He may not have, well, he could take 42. The other one because it's off the cushion. Might take this one first into the left corner pocket. Now he's gone back for the one on the right. Now, these are ones you've got to be so precise. And particularly if you're trying to bounce the cue ball out far enough for the pink into the left centre. Really put it.
Well, King's missed that. Let's
King,
quickly get to
42.
table 1, because Ding Junhui could be about to make his 600th career century, so this is a little landmark
94.
for him. And 51 still on. He could make the high break so far as well, 145. Going to be 3-1 guaranteed. Oh, well, we've jinxed that, haven't we? Straight away, we've jinxed it. But 94, he's playing well is the bottom line, 3-1. So let's get back to Mark King and Gilbert on table 2. We just wanted to see if he could make that 600th century. Wasn't to be. Now then, King, as we saw, missed the red, so here's an opportunity for Gilbert, who, of course, missed that pink earlier out of nowhere.
Thank you. As quietly as possible, please. 1.
I mean, we saw yesterday Matthew Stevens was 4-0 up and actually went 5-4 down. So 4-0 is not match over, but obviously Dave Gilbert is by far the favourite to come through. King would really have to dig deep to get back into it. So these next few moments are really big in this match.
Bad bad miss, wasn't it, from Mark King? He'd be absolutely gutted he missed that red into the bottom right corner pocket. It was a wonderful break up till then, but now it looks like, well, it could go 4-0 behind. As you said, David, a mountain to climb.
13.
I think it's been pretty quick snooker all round this morning. A bit like last night, you know, some heavy scoring, no really protracted frames. And a really good standard.
15.
Yeah, I think we certainly hoped for it, and we almost expected it with the quality of the field here. But this is a bit of a hammer blow for King coming up if Gilbert does press on here, as seems likely now.
18.
5 in front, so brown and blue for 4-0. King hasn't really scored yet.
So 9 in front. Blue ball required to leave Mark King needing a snooker. It's there. And 4-0. Beckons.
27.
Gilbert just rolled his pink. Will be in or over the hole here on the left-hand corner pocket. Lovely shot. Big
32
frame.
in the frame. David Gilbert.
Yeah, not least because Gilbert himself went wrong when he missed that ping. But
7 minutes past now, so 22.
Mark King couldn't take advantage. He missed the
22,
red,
David.
and Dave Gilbert 4-0 up. So I think table 4 is favourite now. Joe Perry and Graham Dott. We've got 2 matches on the interval. So let's go to this battle of 2 very experienced players.
15.
Well, now how insignificant will that be? Because Graham Dott has been looking for a way back into this match. He was leading 2 of the frames by sort of 45, 50 odd. Didn't win them, but Joe Perry, I think he's got away with it, but I suppose what Dott's got to tell himself is at least he missed. He might not have left him bang in, but at least he actually missed, because that could have been 4-0.
Yeah, I mean, I thought this was going to be a really close match, but Joe Perry has really set the early pace. And as you said, sometimes, okay, you're a little bit aggrieved that you're not, you don't have an easier opening chance, but you're sort of just delighted that you're back to the table. I think he's going to play the double here, you know. Oh. Has he left it? I think he's left the red. He's definitely left the red into the green pocket. Has he left the red on the pink spot just below it? Maybe not. This red is potable. The green will be waiting. It's not easy, this, though. Turn the screw here, Joe Perry. Don't blame him. Wasn't an easy shot that to take on.
So just to reiterate, we've got 2 matches at the interval. Junhui leading Robert Milkins 3-1, and Dave Gilbert leading Mark King 4-0. It's 2-1 to Jordan Brown against Zach Surety, and here Joe Perry looking to control things and get himself to 4-0, and the work is not entirely done, but he's a long way towards qualification. That's a terrific pot. Struck that very confidently, so now he's got his chance to arrive at the interval 4-0 up. Yeah, it's a big moment, of course, to win that Welsh Open, not least because he had his parents there. They hadn't been there when he won his tournament in Thailand. His father hadn't been well, his dad Peter, who had been with him all his career, so he's quite emotional. As we said with King and Anthony Hamilton as well, you know, a player who, okay, it wasn't his first title, but it was the most significant moment of his career. And to beat Judd Trump as well in the final was a great achievement.
Yeah, I thought he played fantastic, didn't he?
16.
All round, really quality player, Joe Perry. Safety player, decent break builder, and most importantly, he's got a very good temperament.
22.
Yeah, he's got this sort of steady sort of nature, I suppose, which obviously in snooker is a great plus. So 48 to the good. This frame should be over, and that red confirms it. Joe Perry then is going to be 4-0 up. This was a hard match to call, I think, and as I say, Graham Dott certainly in a couple of the frames was looking favourite, but wasn't able to nail them, and Perry will need 2 more to put himself in the draw, which to remind you will be at the end of this session. Have it live straight after the end of the session.
Yeah, lots of people tweeting in, what time is the draw? Well, it should be around 5ish, something like that, when the last match is finished this afternoon. Looking forward to it. A lot of good names in there. Everybody will be interested to see who the top 16 players are going to play. Who Jimmy White is going to get. Will he get Ronnie O'Sullivan or Jack Lazowski? He thought he got Jack Lazowski already. It was quite funny yesterday, but yeah. Looking forward to doing the draw with Rob and with Jason Ferguson, chairman of World Snooker.
So Joe Perry 4-0 and looking very good indeed.
Please.
So table 3 next for us. It's the only one actually still going.
6.
Jordan Brown and Zach Surety. 2-1 to Jordan Brown. Could have been 3-0 actually, but he's in with a chance here, as you see. Just a point in front,
7.
but at the table, that one awkward red on the left-hand side cushion seems to be the key ball now. But they're certainly getting on with it, aren't they? I mean, we've been going just over an hour, and there's only one match yet to get to the interval.
Yeah, and actually, you know, it was very similar to last night, where all 4 matches were at the interval at the same time. We could have exactly the same thing here. A little bit short of pace there, Jordan.
13.
He's just got to judge the cannon off the second red while potting this red. Could knock the red to the right hand side cushion, which he doesn't want. He may have to play this with a little bit of certainly a deft touch. Try and hold it. He's missed it. Yes, he was concentrating on the red coming back off the cushion, back into open play. Took his eye off the pot and missed the trick there, Jordan Brown. He's got a nice angle here, Zach Shorty. I wonder would he try and just remove the red that's close to the left-hand side cushion near the middle pocket. Could try and move that as he hit it. Oh, good idea though. Okay, he's lost position. He's been unlucky there. He's tried to play the aggressive shot, missed the cannon, but cue ball hasn't finished favourably for him.
Good pot that to continue, so we still have the issue of well, 2 reds actually on cushions.
4.
Oh, but then he misses that. Well, that was the kind of, we were talking about the last 2 reds being awkward. That was the kind of gimme, but he's missed it, so That will really annoy him. Maybe he was thinking about leaving an angle to try and get the red out, but just took his eye off the pot. Either way, didn't get it. Brown goes for the double and gets it.
He's got a nice angle on the pink. He can play up for that red and bulk. Doesn't want to go straight on the red, that's the only thing. If he does, he can only drop the red in. He's going straight. But he's still in control of this frame. No heroics here, just drop the red in and then lay a nice snooker. That's all he can do. Don't think he has the angle to knock the red in and try and get that cue ball top side of the balk line. Just making sure the red, there's nothing wrong with that now. It's got to lay a nice snooker here. Roll up directly behind the yellow.
Yep. Yellow.
Dead weight, try and get it as close to the yellow as possible. Even an easy snooker or an easy escape. And that's okay, it's pretty good.
Interesting little stage now in this match. Jack Shirty, as I say, I think you could argue this is the biggest match of his career so far. He's trying to get into the final stages of a big ranking event. Jordan Brown, of course, having won that Welsh Open, looking to press on, and as I say, 22 in the world, he's outside chance of top 16. So, what to play for. But main thing is everybody, regardless of what you've done, whether you're Ding with your 14 ranking titles or Zach Shirty back onto the Q School, you want to get in that draw. That's what it's all about this week. Getting to York, playing one of the top 16, being part of the UK Championship final stages. Good pot. Needs the cue ball to hold up. Well, it sort of finished a bit betwixt and between for brown and green. Just needed it to hold up, didn't he? Now then, what about this yellow? Ten-hole frame this. 13 points in front, Jordan Brown. In goes the yellow. So yellow again. And he needs yellow, green and brown for 3-1. And that will leave him halfway towards a place in the draw for the first round. Could he draw Mark Allen? Well, first things first, get into the draw. First things first, pop this yellow. Now, I think he felt he got a slight kick, but he's okay. He's potted the yellows on the green. Just asking the referee, Olivier Martial, of course, refereed the World Final earlier this year at the Crucible, just to clean that cue ball. Doesn't want any more bad contacts at such a delicate stage. So, we'll see how significant this frame is ultimately, but it feels big at the moment because it was nip and tuck. Could have gone either way, but Jordan Brown needs the brown, and it's going to be 3-1. And so he holds the advantage at the halfway stage. It's been an interesting first sort of hour and 20 minutes, but the real tension, I guess, is going to come in the second half, and we will follow all the action, of course. We're going to go to the studio in a moment, but we're going to follow all the action as all these players aim to put themselves in the draw later this afternoon. So in it goes. Jordan Brown leads Zach Surety 3-1. All matches therefore have reached the interval. Let's go over to Rob and Ken.
Thanks very much, Dave. Thanks for joining me, Ken. Very high scoring there. We wouldn't necessarily have expected Dave Gilbert to be leading by 4 and Joe Perry the same scoreline.
Yeah, very surprising. I thought there'd be very, very close matches. Mark King has had a couple of chances, but I think the manner in which Dave Gilbert started and Joe Perry, both of them got off to flyers. They settled down very early. They won crucial frames when they had to, and of course then they followed up with big breaks as well. So both of them looked to be queuing really, really nicely, you know.
Great start for them both.
Yeah.
Dave Gilbert commenced with a 56. He had a 62 in the third. In fact, let's just take a moment to savour, and savour is the right word, the smooth action of Dave Gilbert. I mean, he is poetry to watch, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, yeah. I mean, he's got a lovely free-flowing sort of style, but have a look at his cue action here. I know he's been working with Steve Feeney quite a bit, but he gets through this just absolutely beautiful. Look, he stays right still on the shot, cue ball off the top cushion, back up for blue, but also not only the long shots. I mean, we'll see this from another angle. Watch the head as well. Just stay nice and still, relying on the cue action, the pause at the backswing. Watch the pause at the backswing as well. It's just wonderful. There's the pause, holds it, picks his line, but also when he gets in around the pink and black spot, that's what I really like. You know, he's got a lovely, you know, flowing mode. It's not jerky in any way, shape or form, and he's got great control of the cue ball.
And there was a big moment in that fourth, wasn't there? Because Dave looked like he was in for a one-visit clearance for 4-0. Missed the pink. Mark gets back in, but a key missed red. He'll be kicking himself that he missed that opportunity to at least get one on the board before the mid-session. Yeah, and it was a tricky red. It's on the top cushion. It's into, you know, the right-hand corner pocket. He's got to play it with a little bit of left-hand side. And when you hit the near jaw on these pockets, they always stay out. You know, you've got to be so precise with them. And it was a missed opportunity because that frame, it could have settled him down right before the mid-session interval. It's always a good time to win a good frame, but he's missed it. And he's handed the initiative to Dave Gilbert. He duly came in, won the frame 4-0. So Mark's got to beat him virtually 6-1 now to try and salvage this match. But the way Dave Gilbert is playing, he's just playing sublime snooker. He is, and he's in the driving seat. But then again, Matthew Stevens was producing incredible scoring last night for 4-0. And then all of a sudden, Wu Yiza won 5 on the spin, and Matthew had to dig himself out with a great clearance in the decider. So funny things happen. Absolutely, you wouldn't discount Mark King, you know. And the great thing about Mark King's character is that he'll never give up. You know, you'll have to scrape him off the table to beat him. So Dave Gilbert will know that. He will understand that. He won't take things for granted. And but yeah, tough, really tough ask for Mark King now. As it is for Graham Dott. I mean, again, he will not give up. And I remember an incredible match at the Crucible. I think it was a first round encounter between him and Stuart Bingham. And Bingham led something like 8-2. And it went 9 apiece. And Bingham crawled himself across the line in the decider. Well, Graham's got to do similar, because what a start from Joe Perry. Has an 86 in the first and then produces what I think was the 69th century in the qualifying campaign. Perry's got his scoring boots on. Yeah, he has. And Graham Dott, I think, would be very disappointed the way he's played, because he's had chances in those first few frames, didn't score enough, and it's all about Joe Perry. And he looks very, very confident, very composed, you know, very experienced player as well. You know, he doesn't always, I mean, he wouldn't be a prolific break builder, but what he does, he's a very top percentage in all aspects of the game, and he's blessed with a wonderful temperament, you know. So very, very steady player. He's scoring when he has to, you know. He's picking off the frames there against Graham Dott. I thought that match was going to go to the wire, but the way Joe Perry is playing, it looks like he's going to run away with this. I know, and I was listening intently to you and Dave talking about what a big win it was for him at the Welsh. Yeah. I know he won the grand final back in 15, but I agree with both of you that it wasn't just what he did, it was where he did it and who was watching. By far, the outstanding moment of his career.
And obviously, and who he did it against, you know, Judd Trump in the final. And he was a big underdog in that final. Nobody sort of gave him much of a chance, particularly over the longer distance. But he played, you know, immaculate snooker. And, yeah, it was a very rewarding tournament for him. And, you know, nice to see him get back on the winner's rostrum.
It really was. Table 1 is back in action. We'll rejoin Dave in just a moment.
Yeah.
Ding's looking really good here. Rob Milkins is a wonderful campaigner. He's got off to a decent start in this frame. He leads by 49 points, but this is a really, really crucial frame for the Milkman.
Yeah, actually, it's a really, you know, quality match. I mean, Ding looks very, very good. Robert hanging on onto his coattails at the moment, but, you know, if he gets this frame, as well as Ding has played, you know, it still it puts the few doubts into Ding's mind. You know, he's still got to produce at every frame, you know, not just in spits and starts. So, but it's a really very interesting match.
It certainly is. Ken, you're going to have a little break. I'm going to go and assist Dave in the commentary box, and then don't go anywhere. Put the kettle on. At the end of this afternoon of action, we will have the live draw. It is a random draw. Jimmy White thought he was playing Jack Lazowski. If it ends up that it is Lazowski, everyone's going to think it's a fix. I can assure you it's not. Ken will be pulling out some of the balls, and so too Jason Ferguson, chairman of the WPBSA. That is to come at the end of our live action this afternoon. So without further ado, let's rejoin Dave Hendon in the comms box.
Yeah, thank you, Rob. And it'd be interesting to see if any of these matches start to tighten up. They're all a little one-sided, but this one maybe already is, because Robert Milkins 3-1 down to Ding, but 53-0 in the next frame. Just slightly lost his way here as we pick it up. Smiling. I think the referee called the wrong score out. Just eased a bit of the tension. Deshislava Poshalova. Well, actually, that shot favours Ding in many ways because he's got the reds into play, which Ding needs. 53-0 down. So this frame, although Milkins has got a good lead, by no means over the line yet. There's Deshislava. Actually, we had a tweet from someone asking if she should be given the world final. I think she's probably not too far away from doing that, for sure. She's refereed a lot of the game's big occasions. The match between Gilbert and King also back. Gilbert 4-0 up will be over across all the tables for the next couple of hours as we follow the twists and turns of this final qualifying round. The head-to-head coming in favoured Ding 5 wins to 1. Most recent, of course, that one in Turkey last season. One of those positions here where, you know, he's favourite for the frame, but with the reds coming into play the way they have, you know, not a certainty by any means. He knocks that one in, though.
1.
Nice little bit of applause from the crowd here at Ponds Forge. So, Robert Milkins 54-0 in front. 6 reds still on. Maybe time just to close the shop a little. He could put a colour safe, give himself a bit of security in the frame. Well, he's decided to go for the win, and that's kind of how he plays, really. He's not really the one to start putting colours safe. He's seen the chance, potted the brown, and now every chance to pull back to 3-2. And as I say, you know, we've seen these matches turn around. We saw it last night with Matthew Stevens against Junhui, the 19-year-old from China. Post-interval, it feels very different to pre-interval. So it's 4-0 to Stevens, but he ended up 5-4 down, 1-6-5 with 2 good last frames. But these matches, they could all tighten up over the course of the next couple of hours.
12. 30.
So it looks like Robert Milkins has struck back, and this could get very tight, I think, because of course the nearer that we get to the winning line, the more the pressure is going to come to bear. And Ding, I suppose,
90.
in recent times hasn't been in this position in many tournaments where, you know, he's looking to put himself in the main draw. We saw it at the World Championship. He did qualify, lost to Karen Wilson in the first round. Rob Walker has sprinted from the studio position to join me. Been an interesting start, Rob.
26.
It's been really good, actually, Dave. Very high scoring, very quick. And although that break has come to an end for Robert Milkins, he'll be feeling a little better about life. And you know, Ding started so well, taking the first 2 frames and heading into the mid-session with that very useful break of 94. But this is game on now. Rob Milkins will fancy this now.
Table 2, I think, next for us. Yeah, game on definitely. We'll be back there shortly. But let's have a look at table 2, because Dave Gilbert, he's playing really good stuff, actually. Mark King has just struggled really to sort of get any fluency. But Gilbert, you know, when he hits his stride, he's pretty formidable. We know that. And he also knows how tough King is. He wants to just keep him at arm's length. And 4-0, if he makes it 5-0, then really you can't see any way back, even for a real fighter like King.
Said this about Dave Gilbert, Dave. I think we were all delighted that he won his Championship League title. He's such a likeable fella, arguably perhaps one of the most popular, sort of universally, on the snooker tour. If he could win a big one, because he is so self-deprecating and people can identify that, you know, he likes a beer, he likes a night out, he loves hanging out with his mates, he, you know, loves his wife, loves his daughter. I think he could become a really big star if he could just get over the line and land a big one. No disrespect to the Championship League title, which was great.
No, exactly. I mean, you have to do it, you know, in a tournament, I guess, where you get not just snooker diehards watching, but the general public, and a BBC event would certainly do that. He won a lot of friends at the World Championship when he nearly got to the final in 2019. And I think with him, a lot of it's self-belief. He can be quite on his own case a lot of the time. You know, he can be quite self-deprecating, and you almost have to sort of kid yourself sometimes, you know, and sort of talk yourself up. Look at Neil Robertson. He's always positive about himself. When he loses, invariably he'll find a reason for it. He won't be too self-reflective. But I guess everyone's different, aren't they? Everyone's experiences are different, and you know, one of the great things about snooker is the players just tend to tell it how they see it. They don't sort of... It's not PR, is it? It's just what they think, and that's why I think the public like them. They relate to them as just ordinary people. I know you went round to the farm, Rob, didn't you? You were on the tractor.
Yeah, I'd never been on a tractor, actually, despite the fact that I live a rural life. Dave took us out on his brother's tractor. We went to his brother's farm, and he's got the snooker club now. And I think the snooker club in particular is an important mechanism through which Dave can switch off when snooker's not going so well. Across the whole of the summer, he was busy, you know, carrying out some renovations, and he was getting his hands dirty, literally. You know, he was doing the plastering, he was getting involved with painting, and he definitely seems to be the kind of person who needs another outlet when snooker's not going well. I think he said, you know, he's been very honest and open about how difficult he found lockdown and how much he regretted. I think it was his dad or his brother. One of them said, "Look, we've got to carry on with the farming. Do you want to do some work on the tractor? It's going to be pretty tiring, but it'll keep you busy and it'll keep you active." And he said no. And in hindsight, he really regretted that, because at least, yes, it wouldn't have enabled him to practice his snooker, but it would have kept his momentum, his daily ritual and his daily routine going. And I think he found losing that routine temporarily really, really hard.
Now, is he on this red? He's sort of, the wince he gave us suggests it's very tight, and it's pretty important at this stage of the frame. It's very tight, isn't it? Yeah, Potter's in swaddling coat. We should mention the club. That's the one he's set up. Well, he's not on the red he played for, so this one next to the blue Just feels a big shot now. 35 in front, 4-0 up. If he misses this, maybe there's a route back in for Mark King. Big shot. And did he play it well? Well, that tells you he's feeling good. He didn't berate himself there for not getting on the red that he intended to. He just got down and knocked in the more difficult one as he continues this break. Joe Perry's going to be 5-0, by the way, so that I'm quite surprised how one-sided that match is, because Graham Dott, we know obviously what a great battler he is, but Joe Perry seems to be playing really well.
60. You know, we spoke to Graham by way of a preview, and he was really down on himself, despite the fact that he came through that 6-5 match against David Lilley. He said, look, both of us were awful, but like you, I am surprised that he hasn't managed to get a toehold in that match. Now, is there a glimmer of light in this frame for Mark King? With a lovely long red into the green pocket from Dave Gilbert, but that one to the middle has gone awry, and King is back at the table.
Well, it's got to start here, hasn't it? You know, I mean, that was 5-0 all day long, it seemed. So this seems like a must-win frame now for King. And these are the frames psychologically that can really make the difference. Frames that a player like Gilbert feels he should have won. And then the match is basically won. Mark King determined to just stop the onslaught. Yeah, this was out of nowhere, actually. But that often is the case. You see players really focus on a really sort of what you think is a crunch pot, which he did to that green pocket, and then maybe just slightly relax after that. Not give as much attention to, in theory, an easier pot and miss them. As you see, the pink is messing that red up.
15.
So he's just slightly lost his way here, but Mark King, at least he's back in the frame. Well, I think it's good that he went for that, actually, rather than trying to... He's no interest tying things up 28 behind, but didn't get it, ultimately.
So hard, I always think, as well, Dave, when a player has been frozen out to the extent that Mark King has been, it makes those mid and long distance reds in the early stages of a potential comeback all the more difficult. Rob Milkins in the balls, by the way.
Yeah.
3-2 now, but you know, slight signs of a spirited comeback.
Yeah, sorry, Robert. Joe Perry 1-3-4 he's just made, so that's 5-0, and you know, not only 5-0, but clearly in style. So the gentleman seems likely to be heading for the Barbican. Graham Dott, though, you know, he won't have given that up. So Perry will not sort of be taking liberties, but even so, the way he's playing, you expect him to come through maybe in the next sort of half an hour. Rob will be grilling the winners in the studio, and then of course after the last match we will have the draw for the first round.
We had some funny reactions yesterday, didn't we? Of course, Jimmy was over the moon. Tom Ford was sort of understated, as he normally is, and then Hussein Vafai in the evening was you know, philosophical, really unhappy about where his game is, despite the fact that he came through that match, and he is in the draw, which will be happening, as Dave said, later on this afternoon.
Oh, that's fantastic. What a pot from Dave Gilbert. So King did have his chance. He just lost his way. And this is a great red from the not-so-angry farmer, I would suggest, after that one. The quite pleased farmer. Now, he's got to close it out. His black will put him 36 in front, so he needs another red as well. So, just got to focus on the pot here, and that looks like 5-0, and the door soon to be closed on Mark King's challenge for qualification, you would feel. Gilbert always missed it. Wow, wow. Didn't expect that. That was frame ball. Well, you can't really understand it, can you? You know, the red he potted initially, you think, well, that's as good as you'll see. I don't know. I mean, was it pressure? Was he thinking about something else? I'll have to ask him, but that's a big surprise that he's missed that, really.
Thank you.
The only good news is it ran safe.
He's fuming. He's absolutely fuming. Silently, but he is fuming. In his mind, it should be 5-0. And the door in this frame should have been shut firmly in the face of the former Northern Ireland Open champion. And there's a little bit more thinking to do here in this frame for Dave Gilbert. I totally agree with you, Dave. The long red, which looked like it had, you know, squashed any chances of Mark King. You think, right, he's really got his eye in here. He's fully focused on the job in hand, and then an inexplicable miss. That is snooker.
Yeah, it's strange. I think the thing with a long red like that, you can be forgiven for missing it because it's difficult. A short range red you should get, and that puts pressure on it. And it's all about that. Ken was saying, you know, it's all in the head really, and that's why we admire the real multi-champions. You know, they're so tough mentally. You have to be to keep going in this game. King needs cover here. He's going to wait to see if he's got it. Not sure. Well, he's walking back. Yeah, I'm not sure what that expression tells you, really. I think he can see this. So once again, Gilbert has frame ball. This time he's got to make sure, surely. And he does. So despite a little wobble, it looks like 5-0. And Gilbert, I'm sure, was fully prepared for a tough match today, but he's right from the start, he made it an open game. That suits him. He's been attacking, he's been positive, and he's going to be a frame from qualification.
Joe Perry's just knocked in a mid-range blue, so he's at the table for what he hopes will be a 6-0. So Dave Gilbert, one away from the winning line. And a lot to think about there for Mark King as he goes off for a little comfort break. He's almost there, the not-so-angry farmer now.
Yeah, let's get back to table one. That frame's getting interesting between Ding and Robert Milkins.
Ding Junhui, 34.
Yeah, now this match, you know, one of them's got to go close, hasn't it? Why not this one? It was 3-1 to Ding at the interval.
1.
But Robert Milkins won the next, and now this one in the balance. Work to do here. There's one red that's awkward, just by on the right-hand side cushion. The one by the black as well needs dealing with. So not straightforward, but he's got himself a couple of points in front. So if you're just joining us, just to reiterate the scores, Dave Gilbert leads Mark King 5-0, Joe Perry leads Graham Dott 5-0. And in the other matches, Jordan Brown's 3-1 up on Zach Surety, and here, as you can see, 3-2 to ding over Milkins. Milkins trying to get these reds into play, didn't quite come off. She's trying to disturb everything there. And he's going to be snookered, actually. So that didn't work out at all for Robert Milkins. Yeah, thanks a lot. That's the scene here at Ponds Forge. 4 tables. Nice to see quite a few people in as well. They've made their way here to Ponds Forge to enjoy it in person.
13.
Of course, can take the pick of the matches they're going to watch.
Back.
Well, Milkins, he played the positive shot. He got no reward. He tried to get everything open, but he's ended up snookering himself. And now hitting the black, and they're going to have to get the balls back. Deshislava Boschel over the referee, and Tatiana Wollaston. There she is, the marker.
The other way, maybe.
Yeah, the other way.
And these referees, they've put in some shift, because, of course, we started on Saturday with 3 sessions. And many of these refs have been refereeing 2 best-of-11s a day. So some late finishes. There was one was after 1:30 in the morning. So credit to the job they've done.
Yeah.
Now then, but while we watch this, Joe Perry looks like he might be on his way to potentially finishing off against Graham Dott. So let's go over there, because we don't want to miss the end of that one. Table 4. Here we go. Yeah, he made a 1-3-4 in the last frame, and Joe Perry, such a classy operator. I mean, I think a lot of people felt this would be close, but at the moment, it's completely one-sided. Graham Dott, before the interval, had a sort of 40-odd point lead, 45-point lead in a couple of frames, but didn't kill them off.
43.
But if he can finish it off here, particularly with another big break, then my word, he goes into the final stages, whoever he draws, feeling really good, having expected a battle with Graham Dott, who's played many times before. It was 10-7 to Perry on the head-to-head coming in. First meeting 1999 at the China Open. You know, if he can win 6-0, then means he makes the journey to York feeling good about things and not really bothering, I guess, who he plays. I wonder if he would draw Neil Robertson. Of course, they're great friends, practiced together for many years, certainly alongside each other in Cambridge. We'll find out at the end of this session, because that's when the draw's going to be made.
51.
Is there going to be a late twist in the tail? If there is, it's going to have to happen very soon, isn't it? Because he's 62 in front, 75 on, so he's a couple of balls away from completing a comprehensive victory. Remember, he made that 1-3-4 in the last frame. So blue or pink will do to get him to, well, in fact, he's already with that red snooker's required, but to stop any playing on this next colour. And it looks like Joe Perry is our first qualifier, and he's not taken long, has he? About an hour and a half, probably not even that total playing time. Yeah, he's on the next red as well. So, well, this is terrific stuff. Perry, as I say, coming in, had only made 1 century all season. It hadn't been the best start for him. Last 16 of the British Open, his best performance. Sorry, I'm reading the wrong player. Actually, 2 last 64s. So, not a good start to the campaign. But this maybe a sign of things turning round. Done a lot of punditry actually in recent times, but looks like certainly early on in York anyway he'll be required in the playing role.
77.
Can he finish with back-to-back centuries? Not quite, but 134 followed by 77, and it's a comprehensive victory. Terrific stuff from Joe Perry. He is the 9th player to qualify for the final stages, the last 32 of this Cazoo UK Championship. He's beaten Graham Dott 6-0. I think we'd better get back to table 1 because that frame we were watching between Robert Milkins and Ding is still very tight. 4 points in it. Milkins gave away a few points when he was snookered on the blue, but as you see, we're down to the last red. And it's a little bit cagey. 4-2 Ding, 3-3. Big difference. We'll hear from Joe Perry in due course, but for the moment we'll stay with this one. Yeah, Rob was right what he was saying about the sort of different approaches we've heard in interviews from players. I think maybe just in the immediate aftermath of a victory, players sort of not quite come back down to earth. Big shot this. Not quite, but it's finished well for Ding. In fact, it looks like a full ball snooker. Well, not quite.
Foul.
Not quite, so maybe put back in.
Junhui 4.
No real reason not to. Deshislava Voshalova once again pressed into action. It's 3-2 now, Jordan Brown over Zach Surety, so Surety's won that 5th frame. Dave Gilbert, he's in with a chance early on in frame 6. Of course, that's the frame he needs to win against Mark King. It's a good hit this time for Milkins. I wonder if we should maybe cross to table 2 actually, because Gilbert has got a good chance to get it won. Well, we'll do that in due course because we're about to hear from Joe Perry. There's a lot happening here, of course, across all the tables. We're trying to bring the best of it to you. So, Joe Perry has beaten Graham Dott 6-0, and he's going to be speaking now with Rob Walker.
Yes, thanks very much, Dave. Joe, congratulations. Superb scoring from start to finish. As soon as you came out and you produced that 86, we thought, hang on a minute. Joseph's got his scoring boots on and you were just relentless. We thought that one might go close, but not the case.
Well, I'm in shock, to be honest. You know, it's not that I know I can't play like that, but if anyone watched my game the other day, it was quite possibly the worst I've played in, I cannot remember. And I phoned my dad on the way home and he was delighted because I'd won. I said, Dad, I don't think I can go on much longer. I can't put up with performances like that. It's just so bad. And then today I play like that. So you just never know. I think I got a little bit of inspiration from Jimmy last night, if I'm honest.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
I mean,
I thought I was getting a bit too old to play this game, and then you see Jimmy churn out a few performances and you see how much he still loves it, and I still love it, and I thought to myself, I'm not ready to walk away, so I've got to knuckle down and see if we can, like, you know, make something happen, enjoy it, and try and feel positive around the table rather than just picking up on bad shots all the time.
So when you were driving home, were you genuinely thinking that you would contemplate retirement, or was it a little bit of, you know, hot off the collar, spur of the moment stuff?
Yeah, no, it wasn't hot off the collar, because I haven't played well at all this season, really. A few decent performances that haven't turned into wins, but, you know, not good enough to play at this level, you know, to compete at this level. And no, I will never walk away. When my time comes and I drop off the tour, I'll then quit. You know, I won't quit while I'm still where I am. But no, it's quite deflating. You know, you play all these years, and you know you're going to play bad, you're going to lose. I can accept that, but to play as bad as that, you know, I got let off massively. I just completely dragged Yuan down, and you know I felt sorry for him in the end because I just completely sort of cabbaged him with how bad I played, and I got away with one, and you know made up for it today.
Well, you played brilliantly from start to finish, and you know you said that it's frustrating when the magic isn't there. It's not that long ago. earlier this year that you had the greatest moment of your career? Because I know, the grand final was a great win, but to beat Judd in the manner in which you did, and to take this Welsh Open title from February was absolutely extraordinary. So it's still in there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, but the gaps are too
26.
big nowadays, the gaps from playing well and so many bad forms in between the good ones, and it gets tough to take, and you need, that come on the back of a bad season. So, even though it was lovely to win, it was amazing, best moment of my career, it doesn't fill you with confidence. It's not like I'm knocking on the door, then get one. It just come out of nowhere. And again, this season I've started the same, just picking up a win here and there, but not convincing. But that is by far my best performance since the Welsh.
Well, let's see if you can continue this inspiration that you've taken from Jimmy. I think he's inspired us all with his never-ending passion over the 42-year career. I mean, Neil, one of your best mates, said he thought it was one of the greatest stories in snooker that somebody at the age of 60 could make the last 32 of a prestigious event like the UK. Would you agree? You put it on that kind of level?
Yeah, I think so. I think especially when you look at how it's gone for him over the last few years. I'm all for him getting a wild card. Jimmy gets a wild card until he says he don't want one anymore. He's snooker royalty. He's great for the game. It's not like he gets a wild card and doesn't try and things like that, pulls out of events. He's there. He's battling away every time. And yeah, it's nice to see him get some reward for all the hard work he still puts in. And without a doubt, he's an inspiration to us. When I think Jimmy's 60 and he's still battling away, and I'm thinking about, is it time for me? I'm 48. I think, well, 12 years on me, I don't think I'll go that long, but you can't be moaning about your age and maybe you've been too long. Just get on with it.
Well, that's brilliant. And listen, as far as the draw's concerned this afternoon, presumably the only player you don't want to face is Neil because you are such good mates. Do you care who comes out other than him?
Not really. To be honest, I'm just up for none in this tournament now. I played horrendous the other day, and I didn't deserve to play another shot, let alone another couple of matches. So whatever I get, and I'll just get on with it. But first thing I'll do is cancel my plans for the weekend because I played so bad on Tuesday. I made a few plans for the weekend, thinking I had no chance today. So first thing I'll do on the way home is call the boys and say I won't be out, cancel the table, and prepare for York.
Oh, so they'll have to have the curry without you. Brilliant stuff.
Well, I'll still have to pay for it, probably.
Joe, many congratulations. Thanks ever so much. We will see you in the draw. You may just be able to see there on the screen next to Joe the last couple of balls. Dave Gilbert finishing off the match in style against Mark King. In fact, Dave, come on in. Joe, if you wouldn't mind swapping microphones with Dave. From one whitewash winner to another. Dave, on the white line, if we may. Fantastic. 6-0. Into the big draw later on this afternoon.
Yeah, it's just about getting 6 frames, and I managed that today, so pleased with that in the draw.
It looked as though Mark was going to get in and perhaps nick one, and you never know what momentum and how things might shift. So, were you feeling it towards the end? Because I noticed 1 or 2 shots you were really kind of remonstrating with yourself when you went back to the chair.
No, I'm playing terribly. I hardly play now, so I'm going to play lots of bad shots. That's just the way it is. It's normal now.
When you say you're not playing, are you talking about because you've got the club and you're dividing your time with that?
Kind of, yeah. I just turn up and play at the minute. That's just the way it is.
But we love watching you, and you produce some great moments. Are you interested in who comes out the other side of the draw?
Well, I'm not one of these idiots that's going to say Ronnie O'Sullivan or Robertson or something like that. Yeah. Obviously, avoid the big 5 or 6. You know what I mean? That's about it. They're all good players, obviously, but some are more favourable than others.
Well, listen, you're playing it down. We can't wait to see who comes out the other side of the draw for you. So, Dave is through, so too Joe Perry. Let's just quickly rejoin Dave and find out what the latest is on the other 2 tables. Plenty of drama still to come.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks, Rob. Not the most upbeat winner there, was it? But anyway, Dave Gilbert hopefully will enjoy York. And I don't know why a player wouldn't be more excited about qualifying, but anyway, he's through. Now we're with Ding Junhui and Robert Milkins here. 4-2. It was a very tight frame, that sixth one, and when we went away to speak to Joe and Dave, Ding won it. So 4-2, and he's looking good again, but this could get very tight yet. We've got to have one close finish. Jordan Brown 3-2 up against Zach Surety in the other one.
Six. 7.
Yeah, Ding, he made a very good start, but I think he was expecting, he obviously knows what Robert Milkins has done this year. He was expecting a tough battle, and it may yet to become one, but Joe Perry, just looking at the breaks he made, 2 centuries, a couple of other sizable breaks as well, very impressive. And I thought the way he spoke about Jimmy White was interesting. It's just given everybody, I think, a bit of a lift, because if you can still have that enthusiasm
14.
at 60, then why not at younger? And of course Jimmy is the oldest player on the tour. Just watch the early stages here.
15. $22.
Now, I'm delighted to say, as we just watch this match, I've been joined by a special guest, the chairman of the World Professional Billiards and Snooker Association, Jason Ferguson, who's here watching the action. Welcome, Jason. This is proof. Well, he's not an impersonator. Here he is.
Thank you, Dave. It's a pleasure to be here. In fact, I've been so busy I don't get a chance to watch enough snooker these days, so this is a real treat for me as well.
Well, firstly, before we sort of talk about any other issues, you were played in this UK Championship, and this is it's got a deserved reputation, hasn't it, as one of the real tournaments everyone wants to do well in.
Yes, it is. It's one of the long historical events where we've seen so many great champions over the years lift that trophy, and you know, of course, Triple Crown event, major ranking points at stake, and this year an upgrade on the event as well. So a few changes this year, which is interesting. We'll see how that goes, but it is such an important event from ranking perspective. Every player needs to do well in this if they want to either climb the rankings or perhaps stay on tour.
I think we should get our faces off the screen and just go back to Ding as we have a chat here. I think people would rather see Robert and Ding. Yeah, so good to have you here. So now you're always busy. What have you been up to lately? Because it's always a busy time for you, I know.
Yes, and yeah, this year's no exception. In fact, I think I'm busier than ever before. It's coming out of COVID, getting these events back on. We're certainly doing the miles again, travelling around, meeting various people, and tourism ministers and sports ministers, and discussing events and projects. So very busy time for us. Of course, still a lot of problems in the world from a travel perspective. So really looking at what the World Snooker Tour looks like over the next few years.
And I mean, I'm sure a lot of these discussions are obviously confidential, but is there anything you can sort of tell us? All people are always, I mean, for example, because we've been on YouTube and Facebook, going out around the world, we've had a lot of tweets from various corners of the world sort of crying out, bring a tournament here. It's not that simple just to go anywhere, but can you sort of lift the veil a little bit?
Yes, of course. I mean, I don't think it's any surprise if I tell you, you know, I'm often get off the plane in a country and there is no snooker whatsoever in that country, and it's been one of the things I've really enjoyed so much about my role is actually trying to make that happen and trying to build those markets. We all know what's happened in China. It's very relevant for Ding Junhui playing today. How that market has grown, and much of that work is actually done on the ground, developing the sport, making it bigger, in order that you can deliver major events to sponsors and television partners later on. So it's a very varied role, is what I would say.
We've particularly had a lot of people from North America, and in fact the USA, getting in contact and explaining that they love watching, and there's a sort of growing interest. There's Seattle, there's a club there I know some of the players have been to. I mean, what are the chances of us landing down in the States, do you think?
I think there's every chance. What we are seeing is growth in the US. We're seeing clubs open, as you've mentioned. Fantastic club there in Seattle. Actually, we ran one of our World Women's Tour events
20.
there. And of course, we've got players. We've seen, you know, we're running a All-American Championship through our friends at the Pan American Billiards and Snooker Association, and that this year has been won by an American, Ahmed Ali, who's based at the New York Athletic Club. Great player, really great guy. I'm really looking forward to seeing him here. And he's actually no stranger to the Crucible Theatre. Played in
21.
the World Senior Snooker Championship at the Crucible Theatre last year, so he'll be back as a main tour player.
He's also, as far as I know anyway, the only snooker player who's appeared on Broadway, because he was in the transfer of the Nap, the snooker play that was on here at the Crucible, and John Astley was in it, the British version, and he was because they need a snooker player in it, he appeared in that. But we're watching Ding. Of course, China has been, I guess, the issue in terms of scheduling tournaments. We've lost those events for now. I know it's very difficult in terms of knowing exactly when we can return there. We've been to Hong Kong. That was a big success for the invitation event. Is there any sort of news on how you see that developing in China?
Yes, there is. I mean, the one thing I will say, World Snooker, we have contracts, we have broadcasters, we have partners, sponsors, venues, and we also have the CBSA, our partner, who work alongside us in that market. And the demand is greater than ever for us to be back there. The real issue is travel and restrictions on quarantine policies and so on. That's the one thing that slows us down. The tour is packed week in, week out, and what happens there is if we are going to go out there, we probably would need to go out with a small number and perhaps put 1 or 2 events on back to back. Now, what I can say is we are constantly in dialogue with China, with our partners, and only last week I was online with them. The feeling is that it would probably be next season, but there is some possibility and a little bit of light that we may get back in there in the summer. So it's early days and no promises, but we are really on top of it.
And in terms of, and this may apply actually for China, you know, this format has changed obviously. This is now like the World Championship, so that the sort of strict flat draw doesn't apply for this event. And I think that's actually been gone down quite well with players, because a lot of players low down the list and are guaranteed prize money because they're coming in a certain round. Do you think there might be more events of that structure? It may be a necessity to keep numbers down, or are you listening sort of feedback generally from the players?
I think it's about a mix of both, Dave. One of the things we've been keen to do with the World Snooker Tour is make sure that every event doesn't look the same. You know, we have our Home Nation series, we have our Triple Crown, we've had our China events. What we are finding is that some events are becoming really big in terms of demand, viewership and so on. And you know, there is an argument to say that we can differentiate those events, and perhaps some events should be a tiered structure. There are arguments both ways, of course. If you went to a young player and said, do you want to play in round 1 to a finish in a major venue, final stages, they'd probably say yes, that's what I want. Having said that, if you play Judd Trump or Ronnie O'Sullivan in the first round every time, that player may have a different opinion. So it is really about a mix, and I think some of these big events do justify that tiered structure, and we have to be careful how we do it. We have to make sure that ranking points are done fairly.
What a fluke! Sorry, what a fluke that was, by the way. Just as you're talking, he's taking it to the middle. It's gone all the way into the green pocket. Sorry, Jason, continue.
Yeah, no problem. You do need a bit of luck in this game. I think with that we will agree on. But yeah, events do look different. I mean, this year is a real experiment with the UK Championship. It's had what is a huge upgrade, and you won't see the full extent of that just yet. But this tiered structure, qualifying rounds, will bring us to an elite final stages, a bit more like the World Championships that we have at the Crucible down the road. And you know, I'm really looking forward to seeing the players come out into that arena and see what we've done with it. So quite an exciting time.
No, I think it'll be really good. I've got to ask you about Jimmy White. I mean, what an extraordinary story, what an extraordinary achievement.
4.
Well, he's just an inspiration.
Lagbo.
You know, and
we'll go on to Jimmy in a moment, but just watch Ding pot this, and we're just going to, because this fluke could be a really big moment in this match. He's already 50 odd in front here, 50 in front. Takes the red to the right middle. And then got the near jaw all the way into the green pocket. I'll tell you what, if he ends up winning this tournament, and it's a long way to go, we'll be seeing that again. You were saying about Jimmy White.
Yeah, a real inspiration. I mean, 60 years of age, competing at this level and playing at that standard. I mean, he is actually just so dedicated these days. And every time I see him, he's either practicing or talking about the game. He
18.
genuinely loves the sport with a passion, and it really comes across. In fact, I actually rang him while I was on the train on the way here today, and just texted him and shared a few jokes with him. And he was in great form, and what a reception he was likely to get in Europe.
Yeah, we'll find out who he draws, of course, after this session. Ding looks like he's won this frame, so the fluke was important, no doubt.
Yeah, so this is a huge frame in a best of 11.
25.
What a moment to get a fluke. I mean, we thought he would pot the red, of course. So it's sometimes as a player sat in the seat,
26.
You have to, really think about how you think about these things. But it's created a great opportunity.
Must ask you, Jason, last week, I'm sure you saw Judd Trump at the Champion of Champions
29.
was expressing a bit of frustration. He's sort of cast himself as a bit of a moderniser, and he feels a few younger ideas are needed in the sport, and he's a bit frustrated he doesn't see them necessarily. I mean, what would your sort of response to that be?
Well, I think, what I would like to say to Judd is, come and talk to us. Let's sit down, let's work out what he does actually want, and we are open to suggestions. We're of course open to change, as you can see, and we are experimenting with dress codes, formats and everything else. So I think Judd, he often makes some very good points, but again, let's get around a table, let's agree.
Well, this table is table 3. Jordan Brown fought up on Zach Shirty. Yeah, I mean, I think he was sort of, from his perspective, he feels there should be a little bit more sort of to do maybe at events. He says he's brought guests, and he feels that in some of the tournaments we're sort of lagging behind other sports in terms of the overall experience. Obviously you see great snooker, but it's what else do you get to do?
Yeah, and I think this is an area that we are actually working on, and you will have seen our fan zones at tournaments now. You will have seen our the way we've been being able to digitalise some of the images outside of the Crucible Theatre with new equipment. Coaches on site running coaching clinics. We've got all kinds of things going on now, and it is the way to go. We do think that the customer experience is critical. We do questionnaires, we do ask what people want, and that there's a greater availability of information these days. So we are working at it, is what I would say, and it is fun to come to the snooker. That is also what I would say.
And just finally, obviously, the WPUSA is a players' board. Now, the main thing the players can do, of course, is play, and play well, and they do, and they entertain us. What else can they do to sort of contribute in terms of the way they sort of represent themselves in snooker, do you think?
Yeah, I think that's very important. The players, the way the players present themselves, the players really are the sport, and the way they come out, the way they smile, the way they dress, it is the one thing that we export all over the world on our television screens. So their conduct at all times is really important. And I do take as well some of the things Judd Trump was saying about dress codes and experimenting with perhaps different styles and formats. But actually what we have found internationally is that there is a great demand for that etiquette that our players just come out in this sport with. Dressed immaculately, behaving well, good sportsmanship. This is what snooker is about internationally. So I think the players can do more. It's a two-way street. We have to do more for the players. So I think communication has improved. I will say that WPBSA, it is a world governing body of the sport and a members association, but the players board is actually separate now from the WPBSA itself, and that has given greater access to talk about things we can actually do for the players. So we are seeing some improvement.
Brilliant. I know you're always busy, Jason, so thanks for taking the time to come and speak to us, and I'm sure we will see you in York as well.
You certainly will. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you, Dave.
Thanks. Meanwhile, Jordan Brown and Zach Shirty, we're watching here. Jordan Brown 4-2 up. So there's two matches still going. Ding 5-2 over Robert Milkins, and this match, of course, Joe Perry has beaten Graham Dott 6-0. Dave Gilbert's beaten Mark King 6-0. Brown was fancied here. He's the world number 22. Zach Shirty down 107, although, of course, he's his first year back through the Q school, the first year of his 2-year card.
11.
They've never played before, these two. And it's always interesting, I think. There's no sort of history to call on.
12.
But Brown, overall, has played well in this match, and it's just a question now of just keeping on the front foot, I think, to get it won. The little gap here.
14.
One of these reds, I think, must go to left corner. Yeah, the red goes through the gap, so he's okay. Now, I've had a question. Jelly Bean has tweeted to thank Jason Ferguson for the revamp format and plead to lengthen the matches back to best of 17. Of course, I've only just seen that, so I didn't have a chance to ask him. I know a lot of fans like the old best of 17s. But at the moment, of course, it's still best of 11. The one good thing about the best of 11s definitely is that the audiences get to see a result. You're not just seeing 8 frames. But my argument the other day was maybe as we get into the event, quarterfinals onwards, maybe that's when, with a little rejig, you could lengthen the matches and just up the prestige a little bit. Now hang on. No, he's come to a bit of a sticky end there. I think it might be nice to get back to table 1 actually, and because this match is getting potentially close to the end. Robert Milkins and Ding Junhui. It was a big frame that Ding just won while we were chatting to Jason there, and Milkins needing to hit back. And I think his best chance is to start really winning frames in one visit and just keep Ding away from the table and just plant the seed that any mistake is going to be seized upon.
25. 26. 33. 34.
So, looking to get everything into the open, and he's played an aggressive shot well. Every
41.
chance to press on and close the gap to 5-3.
42. 49.
And as I say, it's not just winning the frame, it's winning it with an impressive single visit. That's just going to potentially plant the seed that Ding, you know, is one mistake away from losing frames. In the meantime, he's not happy with that one.
57.
Maybe these reds not on. There's a red to middle. Important thing in snooker, and it's easy to say, not so easy to do, is try and keep cool if plan A doesn't come off, because there may be a plan B. Well, he still thinks he can pot this one. So there you are, no problem.
58.
He continues, and one more red after the pink. It should be 5-3. It's hard to believe we're not going to get at least one match in the session that goes close. It could still be this one. That's what Milkins is hoping.
64. 65. 72. $73.
He's only made 2 centuries this season. This will be a nice time to up that tally. But even so, he's won the frame. That's the main thing.
$80.
He's always had this sort of dashing style around the table. Quite formidable
81.
when he's playing his best stuff. He just sort of looks a player, if you know what I mean. And again, he was another one. We talked about Mark King, we talked about Anthony Hamilton, another player people were pleased to see win a tournament. Know the years Robert Milkins has been playing, he's been turning up, doing his best, and finally in Gibraltar
86.
last season, he won a ranking title. This frame is done, so maybe if we jump back to table 3, because Jordan Brown is potentially on the cusp of a 5-2 lead. Let's pick this up. This is at a key moment. 57-64 with the black, so another red needed for 5-2. And just taking a bit of control there. It was 3-2. This is frame ball then to get to within 1 of a place in the draw for York. Milkins didn't make the century, but of course he did win that frame. And he's hoping to complete the full-scale comeback. But Jordan Brown looks like he's over the line in this one. Snooker's required. Ken Doherty is back.
Yes, good afternoon. Good to be back, and yeah, surprised with some of these results today. I was just having a chat outside there with the boys, and that Gilbert 6-0. Wasn't expecting that against Mark King, and Joe Perry against Graham Dott. How would he play Joe Perry? And 2 tough opponents for any of those top 16 weight.
49.
Yeah, I thought Gilbert didn't seem that upbeat about things, but maybe in a couple of days' time.
I know, I missed his interview. Rob has just informed me of, yeah, another one of these players. I'm not enjoying it. I play a little bit now and again, but still knocking in century.
Well, yeah, listen, everyone's different, and everyone's got their own situation, but just look at Jimmy, you know, how thrilled he was at the age of 60 to still be competing. That's the way to be, isn't it?
That was red first.
So about 50, it's like 36.
Well, the damage was done, so 5-2, Jordan Brown looking good. But I think the key action now is on table 1, because snooker's needed here. But table 1, 5-3 is the comeback on. Milkins dominated the last frame.
Well, he's got to play no miss snooker now, isn't he? He's going to need a little bit of help from Ding Junhui, because you'd fancy Ding, if the opportunity arises, that he will take it. He's looked quite sharp today. And I'm not just talking about his clothes either. Yeah, he's looked very confident, hasn't he? You know, when he's got his chance, he hasn't missed too many easy balls, Ding Junhui.
No, I mean, we remember a few years ago, 2016, he dropped out the top 16 unexpectedly, had to qualify for the Crucible, and you think, you know, is he going to be able to lift his game here at Ponds Forge? Not only did he qualify, he got to the final, lost to Mark Selby.
Yeah, I think that was a really good chance for him, wasn't it? And you know, he could be, well, in fact, I mean, on stats, you would probably say he is probably the greatest player not to have won. I mean, a lot of people would tag Jimmy White with that because he's been in 6 finals, but you know, this man has won 14 ranking tournaments, and I think Jimmy's only won 10, but I think this man is, you'd have to put him down, even though he's only been in 2 is it 1 or 2 world finals he's been?
1 so
just
far,
that
yeah.
1, yeah, with Selby. Been in a couple of semi-finals. Oh, I'm sure Robert Milkins probably thought that was in when he hit it, but yeah, so he probably, for me, is probably the best not to have won the World Championship just yet. Would you concur with that?
Well, the best certainly of the last, I guess, well, 20 years. Let's put it that way. I mean, in the sort of gap between him and Jimmy, there was Matthew Stevens as well. He got to a couple of finals.
Yeah.
But in recent times, definitely. But there's still time, you know, he's 35.
Yeah. I mean, I'm only talking just so far, you know, because people always ask you, who do you think the best is not to have won the World Championship, or, you know, somebody of the other events. But I think this man, I mean, there's a wonderful, there's an example of his cue ball control. Look at that little gap that he's found for the pink into the middle. Now, if he misses the red, look where the cue ball is. He's not leaving anything. It's just a very wonderful, controlled shot. Very cleverly played. And he's on the pink into the left centre. And that's what I'm saying now. These are the chance. You know, he's got a couple of...
I need a second.
Having that 5-3 lead, he's going to get chances. I don't think he's going to balk at it, you know. And Robert Milkins will be sitting in his chair now, looking at the table and expecting the worst, but hoping that Junhui can falter somewhere. But I'm very surprised.
Just to confirm, with people joining us all the time, we've had 2 winners. Dave Gilbert beat Mark King 6-0. Joe Perry beat Graham Dott 6-0. Jordan Brown is 5-2 up on Zach Surety. And this is the other match we're watching here between Ding and Milkins. And when they're all done, Ken and Jason Ferguson are going to conduct the draw for the first round at the Barbican. So if anyone blanks you next week, Ken, any of the players, you'll know why.
Yeah. Funny enough, I met Zhu Long as I was passing on the way down here this morning, and I said, "Well played yesterday." I says, "I'm doing the draw later on." He didn't know what time the draw was at. I said, "I'll try and get you. I'll try and get you a good draw." I says, "Oh, thank you." Yeah, I said, "Ronnie." Oh, okay. He started laughing, but I think he's just delighted to be there. And I'll tell you what, whoever he does get, he'll be a handful for. And there's going to be a few tough draws for a few of the top 16 players, and I'm sure a lot of the top 16 players will be watching the draw and certainly watching what's happening both yesterday and indeed today. This man, if he does get through, he'll certainly want to avoid.
23.
Yeah, it just adds another layer of interest as well, isn't it? Which is what we're trying to do. It's why we're with you on YouTube. We're just trying to build this event up, and I think it's guaranteed to be a great week next week. But I think this format actually has helped a lot.
I think so, and I think it's like the aperitif, isn't it? You know, before the main course, and I think it's a great sort of build-up, as indeed with the World Championship as well. But I think, you know, as I said, I think the UK has lost its way slightly
24.
over the last few years. You know, I never really got much enjoyment playing up at the Barbican the last few years, and I wasn't out in the main hall that many times, but when I was, it just didn't seem to have the same atmosphere. But I think this year is going to be very, very special for the players. Just the 2 tables set up.
29.
It'll be better for the crowds as well, which is more important, you know, because they have to feel the atmosphere as well, that they can get involved. But when with the 4 tables out the front, didn't know when to clap on one table 1 or table 4, or, you know, the outside
30.
tables. It was a bit awkward for the, so it sort of lacked it. But this year, I think it's going to be very special, you know.
Yeah, it'll start Saturday, of course, 1 o'clock. But will Ding be there? Well, every ball he pots, he's moving closer.
Now, what's he going to play here? Has he spotted a little plant, maybe? I think he has. There's 2 reds there in a line. Now, there is a bit of a gap.
37.
Like, I mean, it's definitely on, but as I said, you see, this is there's a couple of inches between these 2 reds, but it could prove very vital if it does go in. He's just overrun the cue ball slightly. He wanted to be straighter with the cue ball on these 2 reds. He's going to have to line it up again. See, it's not dead set, so he's got to make it. No, it wasn't game on. It wasn't set.
Junhui, 37.
Poor shot from Ding Junhui. So a chance for Milkins to get back to the table, but not the chance to win the frame from here because he hasn't left anything. But at least he's back at the table. Ding Ding Junhui, he played for the plant. He didn't have to. He had a nice angle on the black. He could have gone into the reds and took his chance from there. So now all of a sudden, Milkins has him in a little spot of bother here.
Foul. Animus.
Is this going to be a free
Robert
ball?
Milkins, 4.
No, he's okay.
Back.
Yeah, there could yet be a few twists in this match. Ding was looking good there, but
Sorry, I need to look.
through many years of experience, it ain't over till it's over. Particularly with a player like Milkins, you know, he gets a sniff of a chance at scoring. That's his game.
He's such a quick scorer as well. I mean, he could reel off a couple of frames in very quick time, so I think he'll be aware of that. Chance, or has he got the cover on the blue? He's going to be very fortunate if he does. He has. He's been very, very fortunate there.
Yeah, and when we were chatting to Jason, he got a big fluke actually in the frame to go 5-2 Ding, so a little bit of lady luck smiling on him, and Robert Milkins will have observed that, of course, as well. All part of the sport, but it's easy to say that sat here. Milkins is hoping he gets a little bit before the afternoon's over. Tell you what though, if Ding does win here, going to be quite a few former winners, aren't there, of the UK Championship there, because Jimmy White yesterday, Matthew Stevens, plus all the players in the top 16 have won the UK title. Just looking down the list, we've got Ronnie, Selby, Trump, Robertson, Higgins, Williams, they've all won it. Zhao Xing of course, defending champ. Sean Murphy. So it's at least 11 that we could have there.
Yeah, lots of experience in those names, isn't there?
Well, I have a theory there's been actually fewer shot winners of the UK than the World Championship. You know, I mean, Doug Moucher, when he won it for a second time, was something of a surprise because he was... Hang on.
1.
That was your luck. Ding Junhui twice. And the frame, as you said, to go 5-2. Wow.
My advice, buy a scratch card. You can't lose.
Yeah. Get the lottery numbers off him for tomorrow.
But yeah, just to finish what I was saying, Mountjoy, the second time he won it, you know, was unexpected, and I suppose Maguire kind of broke through, although he'd already won a ranking event at that point. Last year, Zhao Xing, I suppose, was something of a shock, but other than that, it's all the people you expect to see on the Roll of Honour, including the men at the table here.
That was a good shot. Look at this position. That was... Well, that's just a wonderful shot, that.
3.
Ding Junhui with the extension on the end of the cue. Perfect on the shred to hold for the black into the same pocket. Is this the end for Robert Milkins? And it'd be a shame for Robert Milkins to go out in a fluke. I mean, you need a little bit of luck. And oh, well, would you believe it? Trying to hold for the black.
Ding Junhui,
Didn't
3.
have the exact angle he wanted, but wow. Oh, Ding. Don't do that too much. Big bump on your forehead. Looking like a unicorn.
Yeah, it's just, despite the running, and he has had the running, there's just signs that this is just tightening a bit, this match, and there could be some drama ahead. Just to say, Jordan Brown still 5-2 over Zach Surety, not much down yet in the 8th frame. We will be across there at some point. We're going to stay here because this one is getting very interesting now. Milkins seeing some of the luck Ding's had, must have felt maybe this is not going to be my day, but the match continues. 36 points in it.
think he's playing the wrong shot
Foul.
here. Could leave
On
a
a
free
mess.
ball here, you know.
Robert Milkins,
No,
4.
it's just gone by the yellow. He's playing the wrong shot. The shot is off the right hand side cushion and try and lay into these two reds. Now closest to this right corner pocket. The two reds just to the right of the black towards this top cushion.
Yeah.
They're the two they're the reds he should be laying on. It's a straightforward shot, but he's sort of still a little bit cheesed off with that miss. And that's dangerous. You've got to clear your head.
Foul. On a mess. Robert Milkins, 4.
These are valuable points to give away. You can see he's still seeding a little bit, isn't he, you know? It's not time to be losing your head when you're on the precipice of victory, because the match could change very quickly. Good shot. Quite a few Chinese in the audience, isn't there? I mean, there's a huge Chinese population in Sheffield. Lots of students. Prepared, obviously, he's playing, and big hero to many in China. I think Junhui. I suppose it does carry a lot of expectation, doesn't it? And a bit of pressure as well, though.
Absolutely, and the thing is, he's had that from a very young age, because when he won that China Open, and indeed this UK, he was only 18, so a lot to cope with at a young age. And he did have some setbacks early on, but overall, what a career he's had. I mean, there was one season he won 5 ranking titles.
Foul. On a mess. Robert Milkins, 4.
Well, he had his chance earlier, and as I say, there's signs that he could get a lot closer this match.
Yeah, and he's playing a straightforward shot. He's got to avoid the pink on the way down and try and clip one of those reds on the way back up. I'm not quite sure the angle's there. The shot may be to just try to nestle into this red left of the black on the top cushion. Has he made it? It's a good line. Needs to go. Has he made it? Oh.
Foul.
He won't be put back.
Robert
I think
Milkins,
Robert
4.
Milkins will take this red on into the right centre pocket. Oh, well, he has. Surprising that. Because he had a good line on that red. I mean, I'd be very surprised if he doesn't hit it this time.
Rob.
He may not be given a chance of a pot here, Robert, if he does. Let's see what happens. He's got a good line. He's hit it this time, has he? No, he hasn't.
Foul. On a mess. Robert Milkins, 4.
As I said, valuable points these. Well, I don't know how many fouls. Was that 6 fouls? 24 points in fouls?
Yeah. Rob.
Looks good this time. Yeah. And he's still on this red into the right centre. Now will he take it on? He's got to take this red on, surely. Yeah.
1.
Yeah, chance for Robert Milkins.
Yeah, to really turn the screw, make Ding think about the way this frame has started to turn around.
4. Five.
Milkins' best performance in the UK Championship. It was actually 20 years ago now, 2002, reached the quarterfinals. But he's the same age as the world champion, Ronnie O'Sullivan, and as we know in recent times, some older players have continued to play at a high level. We've already seen 240-somethings win in this session, Joe Perry and Dave Gilbert.
12.
What a chance this is to pull another one back. It was 5-2 and he lost that frame when Ding, who was 50-0 in front, had a big fluke. Took a red onto the right middle, it went in the green pocket. Went on to win the frame. But Milkins has kept his head. And he's sensing a chance
18.
to mount a full-scale recovery maybe. First things first, must put this frame away.
90.
Chance, didn't he, when he fluked that red? He missed a straightforward red into this bottom
26.
right corner pocket. Just try to hold for the black. It's going to cost him.
27.
As I said, all those fouls now, 24 of them and all. Makes a big difference here. 18 points in the lead, so another 3 reds and colours. He's going to need
34.
one of those difficult reds beneath the black.
$35.
So sure he played the right shot there. He had a nice shot to play high on the black to disturb one of these reds. He's going to try and, I think Junhui looks on, he's going to try and take this loose red. But now he's struggling. You see, he can't get on the black here now. Maybe
42.
chance for Ding still in this match, but that was
43.
from Milkins, so maybe he's held it just enough. So this shot, try and bring one of these reds out, or try and get behind it. It's not bad.
49.
So just drop this red in. Doesn't have to play at too much pace.
50.
Very well played, Robert Milkins. So a frame, Ding should have should have won, shouldn't he?
Yeah, I think Milkins, we saw from that last red, he's just looking the more confident now. Even though he's still trailing, it's getting interesting. We'll
57.
We'll be over shortly to table 3, but we'll keep a close eye on this match. In fact, table 3 have just finished their 8th frame. It's 5-3 to Jordan Brown. That red doesn't matter.
Milkins,
Milkins
57.
on the comeback trail. I say it doesn't matter, it's 2 snookers needed, but he's in one himself. Well, at least he's come back and, you know, he could have conceded there, but he's come back to give it some sort of go.
Yeah, definitely be advising Ding Junhui after this frame just to take a moment out and get some water on his face. I think he's still reeling a little bit. Needs to forget about this frame, forget about that miss.
1.
Poor shot. Oh, he looks a bit dejected, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's still in front. That's the thing, you know, he's got to, like, really get on the front foot, as Milkins has done, and okay, things have gone badly. That's missing that. He's a concession, as you suggested, he's leaving the arena. I'm not surprised. Yeah. Milkins has won the last 2, it's 5-4.
Yeah. And he's absolutely disgusted with himself, but it's a good idea. It's a good idea just to get out of the arena, just to, you know, try and clear your head, because there's definitely, his head is a little bit fuzzy there at the moment.
Nice little crowd in today.
Yeah, very good crowd. Yeah, as I said, like, there's big Chinese communities. We see quite a few Chinese in there. Big supporters. You know, Ding Junhui. But I think the crowds have been pretty good, haven't they? I mean, there's been a nice response.
Yeah, there's a lot of really loyal snooker fans who they travel around to watch snooker, and you see some of the same faces, and I'm sure we'll be seeing them in York next week. And of course, we missed them during the pandemic very much.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I think it's just a lovely city as well to have the qualifiers here. You know, there's plenty to do around the city. There's plenty of options. Some good hotels and restaurants and stuff like that for people who travel here, you know, and make a nice day out or an overnight stay or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't put this to Jason earlier, but I think actually that's one thing snooker could make more of, the experience of visiting a city. I mean, we're going to Edinburgh, for example, for the Scottish Open, and that's a wonderful place, and maybe sort of flag up the other things you can do while you're there. So it is okay, it's a snooker holiday, but there's all sorts of other attractions you can appreciate while you're there.
Yeah.
So we're going to go, I think, to table 3, where Jordan Brown and Zach Surety are still going. 5-3 it is to Jordan Brown. Zach Surety, prior to this year, had never won a match in the UK Championship at all, so he's already done well, of course, to get this far. Now it's a question of, can he possibly threaten a comeback? He's only been in his whole career 3 last 32s in ranking events. That's the stage he's trying to get to here. He's had to start in round 1, beat Brad Ferguson, no relation, 6-0. Elliot Slesser 6-2, and then Martin Gould 6-1. 3 really good wins, losing just 3 frames to get to this stage. So I'm sure he's full of confidence coming in. Jordan Brown, though, it's going to, I suppose, the form book at the moment with him in front. Oh, terrific pot. One of those where he would have liked some sort of kiss in the end, but it was a great red. He beat Junhui 6-4. Junhui, of course, the man who, through no fault of his own, really caused the controversy last year with Sean Murphy beating him as an amateur. And that's he's played that well, actually, because that's quite a delicate shot. So he's got control of the table with a really terrific pot here.
Yeah, great pot, digging down on the cue ball. Put the cue up in the air.
Yeah, Brown, he was 4-1 down actually to Junhui, so, you know, in trouble, but he started to really put the breaks together. 59, 54, 80, 422 to finish off, so the way he won that match would have given him, I'm sure, a lot of hope coming to this one. I saw him actually before he played that match. He's such a lover of snooker, Jordan. He's fascinated in the sort of stats and the history, just loves the game. He's one of those who, you get the feeling if he wasn't playing today, he'd probably be watching it. And that's what kept him going while he was working in that petrol station, sort of trying to earn money to earn a living and then use his spare time to practice. Obviously practicing with Mark Allen has been a help. It all came together at that Welsh Open in 2021, where he beat Mark Selby, then Steve Maguire, then Ronnie O'Sullivan. You know, no one can say the draw opened up for him, quite the opposite. But in terms of this match, he's just trying to hold Zach Surety off. This might be a chance to the middle. Yeah, nicely done. He's potting well, isn't he? And just slowing up.
Yeah, now here's a shot. Okay, could try and get on one of the loose reds, but he's got a nice angle here. Why not go into the pack of reds on the left-hand side? Take a chance, hoping that you split a few and get a bit of luck. He did, but didn't play it with any real conviction. That's a poor shot. Trying to be very precise. Up into the yellow pocket. It's not there. Junhui is in again, Dave, on table 1.
Yeah, we'll get over shortly. We'll just stay with this one for a moment just to see if that Surety can get in himself here. Good pot.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, let's get across to table one then, because it is kind of looked like the match of the afternoon, and it's getting very tight. Ding was 5-2 up, 5-4, but with a chance early on here. He left the arena, and like you say, to kind of get out there, maybe G yourself up a bit. This is a lovely shot.
Yeah. You see, that was the difference there. He tried to play on the plant, didn't go into the pack in the last frame.
13.
And it went wrong. That time, he was a bit more aggressive. And he's played a wonderful shot into the pack, knowing full well he was going to be on this red. But what he's done, he's brought a few
14.
reds out into open play. Could go into the pack again here if he wanted. Doesn't have to. But see, that's the difference. Take the chance when you've got the angle, and it's a lesson for
21.
Anybody watching out there, and even some of the professional players. You know, when you've got the angle, don't wait till the last chance to go into the pack.
22.
When you've got the angle, even though you've got a couple of reds on, go into the pack and bring them all out, or as many as you can. Just makes your break building a lot easier. You see the greats do it. Sullivan, Higgins, Trump, Robertson, they all do it. They get into the pack as early as possible, even when there's other reds on, just to develop them at every chance.
29.
The chance is there now for Ding Junhui.
Well, he enhances any event he's in, and if he does qualify, then you know that's adding another layer of prestige to what's already a big week of snooker. As I mentioned earlier, on the ranking list, he's actually the 8th ranked Chinese player
35.
now, but he's still quality when he puts it together.
He's still the best for
36.
me. I mean, even if he is ranked 8, he's still the best player out there from China. Maybe a match for, as I said, anyone. I mean, he was most successful, of course. And this is shown a bit of character here. He, as I said, it was a good idea just to get out of the arena, just to clear his head.
41.
He was really annoyed with himself how he didn't finish off the match in the previous round. And now he's got a great chance here.
Yeah, I think the key thing with Ding is I don't think any, listen to players talking, I don't think any of them would find any area of his game to criticise. Sometimes maybe he's lacked motivation, maybe he's felt pressure, but in terms of how he plays, you know, no one sort of sees weaknesses.
Yeah, completely agree.
47.
I think the only thing he may let him down is just his own confidence against the top players. You know, having that sort of bravado like the other players have. The serial sort of winners. Has he got the belief and confidence that he can compete with all those?
48.
You know, from tournament to tournament. I think he needs another win, doesn't he? He needs another good run or a win, another ranking tournament win, just to get himself back up there, back up the rankings, back into that top 16, and then he could go on a little roll again.
Yeah, when he won 3 years ago at York, he said in his interview, Ding is back, and it looked like he was, but of course, shortly after that, it was COVID, and that did have a big effect on things in terms of, you know, where he was, sort of in a headspace sense.
53.
Yeah, this is the key shot. He's going to need to negotiate a good pot here, but also the most important thing is to get on this pink or a colour. So he's taking a chance, going to screw into the reds, hopefully get on the pink. And it's gone wrong. That's
54.
a poor shot for him, Ding Junhui. I thought he was going to play it with a bit more pace and maybe have the pink into the opposite middle pocket. This is missable. He's okay, he's got a good shot.
Yeah, 60 in front then.
60.
With 75 on. This is the next big shot, maybe the last one. Oh, and it's not in. Wow. He was on the black and it was effectively over.
He actually thought he potted it when he hit it. I mean, you see him moving towards, as if he's going around to play his next shot. Oh, Milkins taking the red into the left centre. Don't blame him for this. Oh no, no! What have you done, Robert? Oh, Robert, what the chance? What a chance!
He'll be sick because that was a definite opportunity, but he's left it all over the pocket, as you see. So Ding's going to need another red after this.
I didn't mind him taking that red into the middle, but didn't have to. He could have taken the easier one. I mean, I wouldn't say it was the wrong shot. It's just didn't play it with sort of real conviction and almost maybe the red
6.
Just rolled slightly towards that near bump, but this for the match. And he'd be very relieved.
7.
Yeah.
Well, he will be a player the top 16 will want to avoid, of course. 3-time
12.
UK champion, 2005, 2009, 2019. Class act. And
13.
very tough player to beat when he hits a nice scoring groove.
I think this will give him a bit of confidence as well. He'll be going to the UK with, you know, as you said, no matter who he meets, he'll have a chance of winning.
18.
I think first round they'll all want to avoid him.
19.
We look forward to speaking to him. We've got one more match on, of course, which we'll see through, and then it will be the draw for the first round.
I'm looking forward to the draw, actually.
26.
See the names that come out.
So, Ding
Well,
happy
Ding
clearly
Junhui
to have
26,
got this
Robert
one.
Milkins
Milkins
4.
will be disappointed
Ding
with that
Junhui
shot,
frame and
but
match.
it's Ding Junhui who progresses into the last 32 of the UK Championship. He's won 6-4. We'll hear from him in due course, but let's get over now to table 3. This is the last match on, and Jordan Brown with a chance actually to get it won. 5-3 he leads. Zach Surety is 27 points in front as we join it here. We have an opportunity to become the 12th player into the draw. 12 qualifier, that is.
31.
Good chance this, isn't it? He's got another couple of loose reds he can play on here. One into the left centre, one into this left corner. Nice. He's on both reds. He's
38.
okay.
Well, it may be that we get our deciders this evening. I'll be amazed if we don't get at least one today, but this is not looking likely to be one now.
Yeah, it's quite strange, isn't it? I mean, we've only had one, and that was the Matthew Stevens match against Wu Yi's last night. He played a nice
46.
little shot there. It's not touching, I don't think. 43 points in the lead. This red, black, another red.
47.
So Jordan Brown on the cusp of victory. We'll monitor this, but of course we want to hear from Ding, and he's speaking now with Rob Walker.
Yes, the 3-time UK champion is in the draw, which is imminent. Well, as soon as Jordan Brown finishes off, if he does, for 6-3. Ding, many congratulations. At one stage, it looked like that might go to a decider.
Yeah, I just missed a bad red and Portugal have a good chance to win 6-3. So I don't know Milkins how it's going, but it's dangerous all the way. So just keep my mind good, and I lost a bit of concentrations and lost a bit control myself. So yeah.
We know what a big championship-winning performer you are. You have won the UK title 3 times, 14 ranking event crowns in all. And it's good to have you back in the last 32 of the UK Championship. First time since you last lifted the trophy in 2019. Good to have you back.
Really? Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time not winning anything. I don't know what happens, and just trying to keep focus on the practice. And try to focus on the tables, and every time I get a match, sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it works. I don't know, you just keep working hard, and then I don't know, the day will be coming one day, and then I'm just trying to get in my games every match.
Well, Dave just made a very good point in commentary. When you won the title in 2019, we hadn't seen much from you in a couple of years, and it looked like you were back to your very best. But then COVID made life particularly difficult for the overseas players, and particularly difficult for you. So that might explain in part why you found it hard to regain your winning momentum.
I think the first year of the 20 to 21, the season, I think it's not that bad. Make a few quarterfinals, but I know this level is not good enough. And also, we couldn't go anywhere for the pandemic. It's difficult time for the snooker player. Sometimes we need out of the snooker and lose some pressures. It's difficult between China and UK, so we have different rules for that. So sometimes just keep inside for me. Hopefully it's going well everywhere.
Well, and we are delighted that you're in the draw. Do you care who you face when we arrive at the Barbican?
No cares. So anybody could be like top 16. So just be stronger in my game.
Well done, Ding. You came through a tough match against Rob Milkins. Ding Junhui will be in the draw, which will happen shortly. But Dave, we've quickly got to get back to the action to see whether Jordan Brown is indeed going to get himself over the line 6 frames to 3.
Yeah, he was going nicely, but broke down. So this frame is in the balance, 37 in it, 43 on. But another chance here for Jordan, who's just preparing himself. He just needs this red, actually. And he's probably there. So that draw might not be too far away.
Yeah, it was a chance, wasn't it, for Zach? That red into the left centre. If it goes in, look where he is on the black now. This 37 ahead. Just this red required. That's straight. Perfect form. Oh, I can't believe that. Why would you try and screw back for the black? Why don't you just drop it in? Just with top spin, play for the pink into the left centre. That's what this game does to you at times, you know, you think of all the negatives instead of just, you know, if that was the first frame, you probably would have knocked that in, no problem at all. But it's not, it's the ball to get over the line, get his name in the draw. Look at Zach's surety detail here. He's gone for it. He's missed it. Another chance for Jordan Brown. Does he take the red beside the yellow? Does he take the red into the right centre pocket? Does he play the red down into this bottom right hand corner pocket? Does he play the snooker behind the yellow? Play the pot come snooker? That's what he's looking at. It's not a bad way to play this shot. Try and pot this red into this bottom left corner pocket. Get the cue ball behind the yellow at the same time. Not easy to snooker you on 2 reds though. Oh, he's got the red. Well played. You could see the relief, couldn't you, when he potted it?
Yeah, after missing, well, a couple of chances actually in this frame, including the most recent. Oh, a little bit of ticket, a bit early for that, isn't it? I think that should be at the end of the final. Not the end of the final qualifying round.
Where's that come out of? amazing. He's come down the bottom of the table here to have a look at if he can, where he's going to leave the cue ball. So he's not contemplating just dropping the yellow in. Look at this. Just making sure that, I mean, that yellow is big, 2 points, believe it or not, because instead of only needing one snooker, Zach Shorty needs 2. So he's thinking very clearly. What was you saying many times before? Even with 2 snookers, you know, 1 snooker and a free ball is always possible. It's not good. Knocking the black safe as well, and that's going to make his job even harder.
Well, we'll see if Jordan Brown can close this out. 2 snookers needed by surety. Then we'll speak to Jordan, and then we will have the draw. There'll be a lot of players very interested to see, as indeed snooker fans will be interested to see who draws who. Who's going to get Ronnie? Who's going to get Zhao Xingtong, the defending champ? Who will Jimmy White get?
I'll tell you what, I think Jimmy and Ronnie are certainly to draw each other. That's my prediction. Quite close, they're good friends. They wouldn't like to draw each other, no way. But sometimes it's almost written, isn't it? 16 to 1. What odds would it be? It's 16 to 1 chance, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, this is. He hasn't got the snooker, and he's left the red over the corner pocket. This could spell the end for Zach.
Nearly double kissed it in. Strictly speaking, I guess surety doesn't want to pot it, but I expect he's got no choice.
I still missed it.
Yeah, he's got to get blue or better here, really. Blue or better, he still needs just 2 snookers. But blue's okay, so that'll put him 34 behind with 27 on, so he still need 2 snookers.
Yeah, there's always hope with the free ball with the red, but anyway, you know, he's got to give it a go
6.
here. Try and get a really good one. If he can get 1, then that really raises the stakes for Jordan Brown.
Absolutely 6.
Is there enough rail left of the brown off the side cushion? Lots of right hand side. Look at the side he's putting on the cue ball. Widen the angle. No problem. Maybe not a bad idea to pot the yellow here. Try and where the green is positioning. Try and get the cue ball. Oh, well, he tried to. So you see where the cue ball was finished. Now, if you got the yellow had it gone in, it was a straightforward shot right up behind the blue.
This yellow might be in. Oh. Yeah, it might be now. Jordan Brown really just needs to put it away, and then we'll be, I guess, about 10 minutes from the draw. And in it goes, and there's the concessions that Shorty offers his hand. So Jordan Brown is the 12th qualifier for the UK Championship, and he'll find out very shortly who he's going to play in the first round. Yeah, he held him off well, actually, and I think he played pretty solidly overall. Zach Shorty, as I say, had never won a match before in the UK Championship, but he's had a good week nonetheless.
Yeah, he's done really well. He's won some good matches. He's got some good ranking points, and although he'd be disappointed the way he played today, but he'll be delighted to get through.
We'll hear from him shortly. That's then the conclusion of the session. It's been very interesting. We saw, of course, victories pretty swiftly for Dave Gilbert and Joe Perry, 2 whitewashes. Ding Junhui was pressed by Robert Milkins before winning 6-4. And then Jordan Brown, our last winner, 6-3. Of course, we've got 4 more matches tonight. We're going to hear from Jordan shortly, and then, of course, it is the draw. We've got the top 16 in one hat, and the top the 16 qualifiers in another. There'll be a few either-ors, obviously, because we've got the 4 matches to come this evening. But I'm sure there'll be a lot of players, and indeed snooker fans, really interested to see who is going to draw who. We've got Ken Doherty and Jason Ferguson, who will be doing the honours. The crowd here have seen a good afternoon snooker. A lot of high-quality matches. I think that the Joe Perry-Graham Dott match was interesting, just how one-sided it was. Joe Perry made 2 centuries in that match. He'd only made 1 all season coming into the event, so he'll be feeling maybe quietly confident going to York. He's going to find out shortly when he plays, because not only, of course, who you play, but when you play. The actual schedule's been done already, so the 16 seeds, the top 16 seeds, know who exactly they're going to be playing. Or sorry, when they're going to be playing, but they will find out who they're going to be playing very shortly. But as we just conclude the session, do not go away, because we've got the draw coming up very soon, and a lot of Jimmy White fans in particular, I know, are looking forward to this. Who's going to get Ronnie? Who's going to get Judd? Shazington, the defending champ, Neil Robertson, all these players, I'm sure, are waiting as well to see who they get. So I think we're ready, just about to go over to Rob in the studio.
Thanks very much, Dave. Well, we still haven't had a decider, have we? Fabulous performances all throughout the afternoon. And Jordan, many congratulations. You're in the draw for the last 32. You will be on the 2-table setup at the Barbican. Spirited performance, though, by Zach.
Yeah, definitely. A great run by him. It's just so tough out there. You know, he's down the bottom of rankings. He shouldn't be, because he's much better than that. Hopefully he pushes on from here. But yeah, it just doesn't get any easier. You know, no matter who you're playing. You know, I put myself under it. Nobody puts any more pressure on me than myself. So yeah, just pleased to get through.
Were you beginning to feel it a little bit towards the end there?
Yeah. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't. You know, these are big matches. You know, these are the ones that you want to be doing well in, getting deep, and you know, I've obviously qualified now, and you know, that's the first step out of the way.
Do you think it will feel more special at the Barbican, the fact that you've come through this Judgment Day scenario? Are you a fan of the new sort of rejigged format?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I think we should have more tournaments like these. You know, the tiered format, I think, gives the players lower down, you know, a chance, you know, to progress, you know, because you're risking with a flat draw, drawing one of the top boys, you know, first round. You know, it's not easy for these guys, you know, but yeah, I'm a big fan of York. But Barbican's probably my favourite venue outside of the Crucible, so it'll be really special with a 2-table setup and big crowd, and that's what we play for.
And any preference? We're going to ask you to hang around just offset, because in literally about 1.5 minutes time, 2 minutes maybe, we're going to do the draw.
Oh, really?
So we're going to get you back in for your reaction, whoever you face. Have you got any preference? Obviously, you don't want to play Mark. You're such good friends. You go back such a long way. Do you care who you play?
No, not really. I'm one of those that just doesn't care who I play, you know, anytime. Obviously not Mark, you know, he's one of my closest friends, like you say, and yeah, but listen, I'm there, that's the main thing, and hopefully progress from there.
Well, many, many congratulations. You
Cheers,
are the last man guaranteed in the draw. We've got the either-ors. Tonight we've got 4 matches, so we'll have 4 of the balls will be either-ors. Jordan will step off set for just a moment. Here's Dave to clarify how all of the matches went this afternoon as we redress the set ready for the live draw for Saturday. It's almost showtime.
Yes, do stay with us. As I say, Rob will be with you very shortly for the draw. As we just reflect on what we've seen here this afternoon so far, as I say, a couple of whitewashes maybe we thought would be a lot closer. Let's start in the top right-hand corner. Dave Gilbert, Mark King. Gilbert had breaks of 56, 62, 60 and 66. Mark King just missed a few key balls along the way. And, you know, he's so famed for his fighting qualities, but just didn't quite get stuck in to that match. The other whitewash, Joe Perry did play really well in this one. He had breaks of 86, 102, 134 and 77. So Joe Perry, good value for his win. Graham Dott was ahead in a couple of those frames, but just couldn't quite press on. Ding, of course, Ding Junhui against Robert Milkins. Ding made the early running there. He led 3-1 at the interval with a break of 94. He led 5-2, but Milkins hit back, breaks of 86 and 57. Good 60 in the end from Ding to get that one 1-6-4. And he, of course, is a very, very dangerous qualifier. And then we've just seen Jordan Brown beat Zach Surety 6-3. Having watched that match, the comeback never quite looked likely to materialise, but Zach Surety's had such a good week. Just to repeat, he'd never won a match in this tournament before. Back on the tour for the Q School. It's been quite a challenging season so far as he re-establishes himself, but he's had a good run. But it's Jordan Brown, who we've just seen, very happy to book his place in York. So our 4 winners in this session: Dave Gilbert, Joe Perry, Ding Junhui and Jordan Brown. Now, how the draw is going to work, I'm sure Rob will explain this as well. We've got the top 16 in one bag, so they're set, the top 16 seeds. And then we've got 16 qualifiers in the other bag. We've got Ken Doherty and the WPBSA chairman, Jason Ferguson, to draw them out. Of course, the seeding positions are set. But the question is, who is going to play who? There's going to be a lot of people gathered round now waiting to see, for example, who Jimmy White is going to draw, who the top seeds are going to draw. There'll be a few either-ors because we've got 4 matches to come here this evening. But great excitement. We see this, of course, in the World Championship as well. The excitement, particularly when you qualified, it's the next level of excitement. First of all, you got yourself through. Then it's, OK, who am I going to be playing? And, of course, we've got to remember as well, a lot of the friends and families of these players are also going to be watching this with great interest because their friend, their relative, may be taking on one of the real big hitters in our game. We've got, of course, already 3 former champions have qualified in the last couple of days. Jimmy White, Matthew Stevens, and now Ding Junhui as well. A lot of experience under their belts as they try and take it to the top 16. And it's also worth saying, of course, the match play these players have had this week, you know, these best of 11s, could put them in good stead. But no more chat from me. Let's get to Rob Walker now for the draw for the final stages of the UK Championship.
Dave Hendon gets the gold medal for filling. We've been redressing the set and we found these 2 sharp-dressed men. So a very good welcome back to Ken Doherty and Jason Ferguson, chairman of the WPBSA. Ken is going to be drawing out the top 16.
Okay.
Jason is on the 17 to 32. And remember, we've got 4 either-ors because we have 4 matches yet to start this evening. Jason, happy with how things have gone so far on our rejigged lead-up to the Barbican?
Yes, I've got to say, feels like drama, feels like the last day of the World Championships. It really has, I think, brought a lot to this event. So quite exciting watching some of those matches today.
And Ken, Jimmy's win yesterday just ignited the, you know, the headlines, the newsworthy drama emanating from Ponds Forge. This has been a really special couple of days.
It has been, and I think it's captured the imagination, not only of the players, but a lot of fans over here and around the world. You know, we get tweets from everywhere. I think it's a new look UK Championship, and I think everybody is going to be really happy with what's coming in store. You know, it starts on Saturday. We're excited about the draw, but I think this is a new look UK Championship, and I think it's for the better, and I'm sure all the players will agree as well.
Okay. Metaphorical drum roll, please. Give the bags of balls a jiggle.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go. This is the draw for the 2022
right, here we go.
Cazoo UK Championship.
So this is the seeds, yeah? The 4th seed out of the bag is number 6.
That is John Higgins, who won the first of his 3 UK crowns in 1998.
The first qualifier is number 18.
Oh, Tom Ford, semi-finalist when he last appeared at least the last 32 of the UK 4 years ago.
Okay, here we go. Next seed out of the bag is number 2.
The reigning world champion, the Rocket, Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Is it got to be Jimmy White? Is it got to be Jimmy White?
Number 22.
will play Matthew Stevens, who came through a brilliant decider yesterday, 2003 UK champion.
Ronnie can relax, he's not got Jimmy. Number 5.
Mark Selby, a UK champion in 2012 and 2016.
Right, who wants this tough one? This is a tough game. For number 24.
We'll play Hossein Vafai, the reigning shootout champion. Good match there.
Same as last year, wasn't it?
Yes, Hossein beat him in the second round.
Number 13.
Sean Murphy, UK champion in 2008, world champion, of course, in 05.
We have number 25.
He will play Dave Gilbert, who we've just seen produce some great scoring, beating Mark King 6-0.
Okay, here we go. Number 7.
Mark Williams won the second of his 2 UK crowns 20 years ago. Multiple world champion. He's won it all.
And he's got number 17.
Oh, it's the all-Welsh clash. Jamie Clark, who beat another Welshman, Dwayne Jones. And that's Jamie's first appearance in the last 32 of the UK.
Okay, here we go. Number 4.
Judd Trump. Who could forget that fabulous UK final when we first went back to the Barbican, beating Mark Allen?
Not one that everybody wants, but there it is, number 31.
We'll play the winner of Zhao Gudong or Andres Petrov. Petrov flying the flag for Estonia. They play tonight at 7 o'clock.
Okay, here we go. Number 10.
Barry Hawkins, semi-finalist for the first time last year, winner of 3 ranking titles. And the Hawk will play, Jason.
Number 27.
He will play Ding Junhui, a 3-time UK champion. Ding hoping to reclaim the glory days of the past. That is a great match.
Number 15.
Yan Bingtao, UK semi-finalist back in 2019. Masters winner as well, of course.
Number 21.
Oh, it is a fabulous matchup because he's up against Zhou Yulong, runner-up in Northern Ireland earlier this season.
Wow.
So we've got an all-Welsh clash and an all-Chinese clash.
And, of course, they won the World Cup together, didn't they?
They did.
That's right.
Number 9.
Mark Allen successfully defended his Northern Ireland title. Great run to the British Open final as well.
Not Jordan
Brown, surely. Number 28.
Oh, it is.
Oh, my gosh. I can't believe it. I cannot believe that.
God.
Oh, we'll get his thoughts in just a moment, but that is a nightmare draw. 2 best mates. Yeah, that is ridiculous.
That's his fault. It's his fault.
Right.
Number 11.
Luca Bracel, runner-up last year. Scottish Open champion as well. Still can't get over that. Mark Allen and Jordan Brown.
Number 23.
Luca will play Liu Heo Chan. He's made 2 quarterfinals already this season. He's looking really, really good indeed.
Jimmy
the Chinese
White hasn't
player.
been called out yet. He hasn't been. Number 3.
Neil Robertson, a Masters champion, the reigning Tour champion, 3 times a UK champion.
We'll play number 26.
I cannot believe that. We've got Mark Allen playing Jordan Brown, 2 best mates. And that is absolutely crazy. It's Joe Perry against Neil Robertson. That's an awful matchup. They're such good friends. Oh, that is crazy.
Here we go. Number 16.
16, Ryan Day, back in the Games Elite after winning the British Open title.
Number 19.
And he will play the whirlwind, Jimmy White. Ryan Day against Jimmy White. Jimmy rolling back the years in style, 3 decades since he won the UK title, beating John Parrott in a great final.
There we go. Number 12.
Number 12, Jack Lazowski, 6 times a ranking event finalist, one of the greatest left-handers we've ever seen.
Number 20.
He will play Zhu Xie, semi-finalist in India back in 2017. He did well to book his place here, beating Chan Peng Fei.
Okay. Number 14.
Stuart Bingham, 6 times a ranking event winner, world champion in 15, of course, and 3 times a UK semi-finalist. And the ball run will play...
Number 29.
Ooh, Ali Carter or Liam Highfield, who play tonight at 7 o'clock. You won't miss it. Our programming continues.
Here we go. Number 1.
Zhao Xiantong, the defending champion. What a way to blitz to that title against Luca Bracel last year.
Number 32.
He will play the winner of Sam Craigie or Ian Burns, who also are in action this evening at 7 o'clock.
Last but not least, number 8.
Kyron Wilson. Brilliant performance to win the European Masters. Yet another major title for his collection. Made the semis last year.
Against number 30.
He will play the winner of Matthew Selt or Anthony Hamilton. Wow, I just cannot believe that. We'll get the big draw in there from Ivan Hershevitz. I mean, this is nuts. Jason, How could you possibly have two sets of best mates going toe-to-toe?
Well, it's unbelievable. I mean, and the likelihood is these players are playing against each other in practice every day.
Yeah,
so, I mean, you know, there's going to be a little bit of banter in there as
there
well.
will be, yeah. I mean, it's a nightmare draw. Jordan Brownie, it's the one person that he didn't want to draw was his best friend, Mark Allen. Nightmare draw for both of them. And, of course, you know, for Neil Robertson and Joe Perry, you know, they're the ones that they wanted to avoid. But, yeah, some interesting matches, and yeah, can't wait for it to start now on Saturday.
And I guess, you know, as far as Neil and Joe are concerned, and Mark and Jordan, no matter how difficult it is, when they get out there on table 1 or table 2, friendships must be put to the back of their minds because they've got a huge match to try and win.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you know, when you go out there, you know, there's no friends. There'll be a little bit of banter, I'm sure, beforehand. Jordan will tell you about that. But, yeah, it's just a nightmare draw. But once you're on that table, you know, you just want to pot all the balls and get into the next round. And, you know, friendship has to go out the window for sure.
And what do you make of the possibility of Jimmy marching further on? He's taken on Ryan Day.
Yeah.
Ryan Day is resurgent after that fabulous win in the British Open final. But Jimmy said to me, not 24 hours ago, listen, I'm not there to make up the numbers.
Yeah.
I want to win this title again.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the attitude that all the players should adopt. You know, not just the top 16, but all these qualifiers. They should all adopt the same attitude. They're in the draw, and they're in it to win it. They're not in there just to make up numbers or just get, you know, an extra few ranking points. They should all believe that they can win it. We saw Zhao Xintong came from the pack, and he won it, played beautiful snooker. All these players are capable of that. They should all have the belief that they can go and win it, and Jimmy will be no different, and he should be no different.
Right, let's go full frame on this graphic if we can, guys, just to make absolutely certain everybody at home knows exactly who's playing who. Top half of the draw, the reigning champion, Zhao Xintong, taking on Sam Craigie or Ian Burns. They play tonight. Ryan Day against Jimmy White. That is going to be mouth-watering. And by the way, I think Ryan plays on Saturday at 7 p.m. So if you're looking for an opportunity to watch Jimmy White in action, it's 7 o'clock on Saturday night. Mark Allen and Jordan Brown, the two great mates. We'll hear from Jordan in just a moment. Kyron Wilson up against the winner of Matthew Selt and Anthony Hamilton, all of them proven ranking event winners. Mark Selby coming back to something like his best form. He's a two-time UK champion, but he was beaten, I think it was the second round, last 64 last year at the Barbican. And Hossein Vefai says he's got to work on his cue action, but what great motivation for him. Sir came through really well from the qualifiers, and he's up against Jack Lazowski, Sean Murphy and Dave Gilbert. Gilbert reeled off some brilliant breaks against Mark King, was a little bit downbeat, but he'll be fired up for taking on the Magician. Judd Trump will be up against the winner of Zhao Gudong or Andres Petrov. That's the top half of the draw. Here comes the bottom. Neil Robertson against Joe Perry. The two great mates. Perry took Robertson under his wing when Robbo came over from Australia. But they've got to put those friendships to the back of their mind. Stuart Bingham against Ali Carter or Liam Highfield. Remember, the 4 remaining matches will be starting at 7 o'clock tonight. You'll be listening to the dulcet tones of Dave Hendon. You won't miss a single beat of drama. Last year's beaten finalist, Luca Bracel against Liu Heo Chan. And Bracel went on to win the Scottish, so he's the reigning champion of that one. John Higgins against Tom Ford. John Higgins has won this title 3 times. Tom Ford marched to the semis 4 years ago. An all-Welsh clash, Mark Williams against Jamie Clark. Looking forward to that one. Jamie played so well to come through the qualifiers. Hawkins against Ding Junhui. Ding has said he's not quite back to his best, but what great motivation he'll have taking on the 3-time ranking event winner Barry Hawkins. Yan Bing Chao and Zhou Yulong. Great intrigue there for the all-Chinese clash. And Ronnie O'Sullivan taking on the former champion Matthew Stevens. Well, Jordan, we asked you to stick around, and I said to you, apart from not wanting to face Mark Allen, anyone else, you'd have taken anyone else, but that is snooker.
That's the luck of the draw, and that. Thanks, Jason, for that.
Sorry about
that. It had to happen someday, didn't it? But yeah, it's once those hands are shaken, then you know it's going to be war as usual.
And look, you must have spoken about this in the past, and it's a big stage on which to meet. Presumably, you'll just have a chat beforehand, and you'll say, listen, I've got to focus, you've got to focus. You both not only are you great mates, but therefore you've got massive underlying respect for one another. So can we expect any kind of banter or laughs or eye contact during the match?
Yeah, there'll definitely be a bit of stick in the next couple of days, that's for sure. But no, on a serious note, you know, we'll both want to beat each other, and you know, we'll have to be professional and just get on with it. So, like I say, it was just bound to happen. You know, it was just 4 years on tour, haven't drawn each other yet. So just a shame it had to be on the biggest stage, but there you go.
And just bizarre that we looked up, Ken and I were looking at each other, and then you're there in the background. It's just absolutely incredible. Okay, thanks very much, Jordan.
No worries.
Good luck against one of your best mates. So that's it. The draw is complete, but we still have 4 more matches to come. It starts at 7. We're on at 5-2. Judgment Day Part 2 is coming to an end. But remember, this is merely the hors d'oeuvre. The main course is to be served 1 o'clock on Saturday at the Barbican, and we really do have some mouth-watering matches to come. See you at 5 to 7. Thanks for watching.
Großen Dagen. Aware neg heavier through that. Heavier through that. The petty will freak.
Great sporting events make great stories. On Discovery Plus, watch Lycra Warriors battle.
It has been a blockbuster.
Hot shots fire.
The legend.
Sharpshooters strike.
Ronnie O'Sullivan is in 7th heaven.
And thrill seekers zoom. There's live sport for everyone on Discovery Plus.